Chapter 2578. New World 3, Yi Qingtang frowned. Did this young man just say that she was an immortal emperor? Did she look like an immortal emperor? You've got the wrong person. Although Yi Qingtang did not know what happened, she still denied it. Got the wrong person? The young man sized up Yi Qingtang for a long time and muttered, that's not right either. Although you look the same, the clothes that the immortal emperor was wearing were different from yours. So you got the wrong person, Yi Qingtang repeated. Are you really not an immortal emperor? The young man asked doubtfully. I'm really not. Yi Qingtang shook her head. All right then. Perhaps I got the wrong person. However, you look like that immortal emperor. Are you twins? The young man stared at Yi Qingtang curiously. Can you tell me more? Yi Qingtang asked the youth. This matter was rather strange. She had just entered this strange world, and did not even know anything about it. But this young man had so quickly recognized her as an immortal emperor. Sister Qingtang, I just came out of my house. I came here to pick herbs today. The young man started from the beginning. Yi Qingtang felt rather exasperated, but out of respect, she had no choice but to brace herself and listen to the youth drone on about what had happened earlier in the morning. After I went up the mountain, I saw an emperor-level practitioner being killed by an immortal emperor. That immortal emperor looks very similar to you. Also, that emperor said that the matter regarding the Temple of Paragon had nothing to do with him. He called the immortal emperor the Paragon and begged her to spare his life, or something like that. The young man fell into deep thought. Yi Qingtang's expression changed. Temple of Paragon. Paragon? Yi Qingtang was in disbelief. Yi Qingtang was very familiar with the Temple of Paragon, but how could there be one here? Was it a coincidence, or did the ancient god Karma Tunnel send her back? This is the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain? Yi Qingtang blurted out as she looked at the youth. Mixed Heavens Holy Domain? The young man looked at Yi Qingtang with a strange gaze and shook his head. Sister Qingtang, how can this be the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain? This is the Divine Venerate Domain. The Mixed Heavens Holy Domain you mentioned is the second domain. Divine Venerate Domain? Yi Qingtang was even more shocked. In other words, after she entered the ancient god Karma Tunnel, she had been teleported back and sent to the third domain. However, Yi Qingtang quickly realized that something was wrong. The young man said that the immortal emperor just now had the same appearance as her. Furthermore, she was the paragon of the Temple of Paragon. However, the Temple of Paragon's paragon had died a long time ago. Why would she appear in the third domain? Sister Qingtang, you must not speak nonsense about the immortal emperor. If you're not careful, you might bring about a fatal calamity. If you didn't save me just now, I wouldn't have told you so much, the young man said carefully to Yi Qingtang. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Yi Qingtang nodded. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website. My thanks. By the way, Sister Qingtang, you're not from the Divine Venerate Domain, are you? I think you look like someone from the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain. In recent years, many cultivators from the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain have barged into the Divine Venerate Domain. They all want to make a name for themselves here. Unfortunately, it's very difficult because the experts from the Divine Venerate Domain are too powerful. It's not easy even for natives like us to survive here. The youth stared at Yi Qingtang and sighed. Before Yi Qingtang could say anything, the young man continued. Sister Qingtang, over the past few days, someone is petitioning to confer the title of Third Emperor. He is called Han Songming or something like that. He's very powerful. Chapter 2579, New World 4, Han Songming. Yi Qingtang was completely stunned this time. Yi Qingtang was all too familiar with this name. The demon god, Han Songming, that powerful and mysterious man. Are you talking about the demon god? Yi Qingtang asked hurriedly. The young man was confused. Demon god? What demon god? I heard that the powerful figure called Han Songming is about to be conferred the title of Third Emperor. But it has not been announced yet. Sister Qingtang, the Heavenly Emperor seems to have a grudge against Han Songming and has been chasing after him. Han Songming has not appeared much during this period of time. Heavenly Emperor. Yi Qingtang stood rooted to the ground in deep thought. Indeed, the Heavenly Emperor was in the third domain. The Blood Moon Holy Lord was a clone of the Heavenly Emperor. So Yi Qingtang had quite a few memories of the Heavenly Emperor. By the way, Sister Qingtang, is there something called the Dragon Emperor clan in your Mixed Heavens Holy Domain? They have been very famous recently. Their reputation has even spread to the Divine Venerate domain, the young man added. Oh, how did they become famous? Yi Qingtang asked. The Dragon Emperor clan was originally a branch of a major demon faction in the Divine Venerate domain. After falling out with the headquarters, they left the Divine Venerate domain and went to the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain. Recently, there were rumors that the Dragon Emperor clan wanted to control the entire second domain. Even a few immortal emperors were alarmed. The youth smiled at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang, had the reputation of the Dragon Emperor clan spread to the third domain? Sister Qingtang, there are many powerful experts in this world. I'm just a divine lord, like an ant Sai, but I swear that I will become a powerful practitioner too. When I grow up, I want my name to shake the world. The young man's gaze was firm. Yi Qingtang smiled. This youth was behaving rather childishly. He was about 12 or 13 years old, and his heart filled with surging hot blood and naivety. He did not have the maturity which most children who grew up in clans had. What's your name? Yi Qingtang asked. Sister Qingtang, my name is Feng Jiuyo, the young man said. Feng Jiuyo. Yi Qingtang stared at the youth in shock. The one who destroyed the Sky Moon Tower with one slash of his sword. Don't ask when Feng Jiuyo will return. The third domain, Sage Emperor of Swords, Feng Jiuyo. Before Yi Qingtang was born, Feng Jiuyo was already famous throughout the world. He was the Sword Emperor and the focal point of the entire world. He once destroyed the famous Sky Moon Tower in the third domain with a single slash of his sword. After that, he disappeared without a trace and never appeared again. That was why there was a saying in the future. The one who destroyed the Sky Moon Tower with one slash of his sword. Don't ask when Feng Jiuyo will return. But which era was Feng Jiuyo from? That was a legendary figure from the same era as the Heavenly Emperor and Han Songming. Furthermore, how long had Feng Jiuyo disappeared for? If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website. My thanks. When Feng Jiuyo dominated the world, her own ancestors had probably not even been born yet. Although the Heavenly Emperor, Han Songming and the others were still alive, the lifespans of those experts were over tens of thousands of years. Feng Jiuyo, let me ask you, has the Heavenly Demon Tribe invaded the third domain? Yi Qingtang asked as she stared at the youth. Yi Qingtang read from history books that a few generations ago, there was a powerful race known as the Heavenly Demon Tribe. They broke through their seal and invaded the Divine Venerate domain. In this world, there was no one who did not know about the Heavenly Demon Tribe. They were a terrifying race that had once plunged the entire world into despair. The young man tilted his head and asked curiously, Sister Qingtang, what is this Heavenly Demon Tribe? Chapter 2580. In this era 1. Yi Qingtang looked at the young man before her, Feng Jiuyo. Although she wanted to say something, in the end, she remained silent. The Heavenly Demon Tribe swept through the third domain several generations ago. Even a 3-year-old child knew about this, but this young divine lord in front of her knew nothing about them. He had never even heard of the Heavenly Demon Tribe. Coupled with everything that had happened before, including the fact that Han Songming was about to become the third emperor, Yi Qingtang gradually understood. This world was indeed the world she was familiar with. However, the only difference was that the era had changed. It was no longer the era she was familiar with. To be precise, the ancient god Karma Tunnel had sent her back in time to several generations ago. In this era, the former Sage Emperor of Swords, Feng Jiuyo, was just a 12-year-old naive youth who did not know anything about the world. Han Songming had yet to become the demon god, and the Heavenly Emperor was at his peak. The whole situation was completely unfamiliar to Yi Qingtang. This was an era where everything was in full bloom. The peak forces were all vying for supremacy. Opportunities and despair coexisted side by side. Some of the peerless expert practitioners who would go on to be renowned had not even appeared yet. The heavenly demon tribe who would bring about endless despair had also yet to make their appearance. This was really the confusing era. A complicated glint flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes. She never expected that she would come to this era one day. Do you really not know about the heavenly demon tribe? Yi Qingtang stared at Feng Jiuyo. She was still a little puzzled. The idea of traveling back in time was truly bewildering. However, the young Feng Jiuyo just tilted his head and looked at Yi Qingtang. He shook his head in confusion. Sister Qingtang, I don't know anything about the heavenly demon tribe. I've heard of demons, demon beasts, giants, and many other races, but I've never heard of any heavenly demon tribe. Looking at Feng Jiuyo's pure and naive expression, Yi Qingtang was increasingly certain that the ancient god Karma Tunnel had indeed sent her to an earlier era. Perhaps it was hundreds of years ago, or thousands of years ago, or even tens of thousands of years ago. The exact time could not be determined at this moment. Jiuyo, can you tell me more about Han Sungming? Yi Qingtang looked at the young Feng Jiuyo. Feng Jiuyo replied, Han Sungming. I've only heard of him. It's just that his name has been on the rise recently. He was completely unknown in the past. Anyway, I know that he offended the Heavenly Emperor, and is now being pursued by him. Understood. Yi Qingtang nodded. Her expression shifted slightly as she continued to look at Feng Jiuyo. This naive young man in front of her would become an existence that she would highly respect in the future. Back then, Yi Qingtang read about some of Feng Jiuyo's achievements and records in the history books, and was full of admiration for him. To Yi Qingtang, Feng Jiuyo was simply a legend. Yi Qingtang never expected to have Feng Jiuyo stand in front of her one day and call her big sister. In the future, you will definitely become a super powerful figure respected by everyone. Yi Qingtang stared at Feng Jiuyo and smiled. Feng Jiuyo's eyes flickered. Sister Qingtang, I will definitely become an expert. Although I don't have a powerful bloodline or genius martial arts talent, what I do have is determination and perseverance. Chapter 2581. In this era, too, Yi Qingtang fell into deep thought. After Yi Qingtang knew what era she was in, she was indeed a little excited, and still in disbelief. All legends, miracles, and the unexpected were basically born in this era. Just the sound of it would make one's blood surge with excitement. But after some careful thought, she was just an ordinary divine lord. No matter how exciting this era was, it had nothing to do with her. Of course, Yi Qingtang did not want to get involved herself. In such an era, she would be very satisfied if she could personally witness the birth of those legends and miracles, some of which had not even been recorded in history. But then came another question. How would she return? The ancient god Karma Tunnel was indeed profound and endless, but this mysterious and infinite tunnel didn't tell her how she could return to her own era, nor did it tell her the time limit. Based on what the big yellow dog had said before, unless you ended up in the doomed hell, one could return if they were in a blessed paradise or unknown land. But now, she had no idea how to do that. However, she had just arrived at this brand new era, so there was no point in thinking too much. As for when she could return to her own era, she could only take things one step at a time. Sister Qingtang, this is for you. The young Feng Jiuyo wiped his hands and took out an herb. He then handed it to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang recognized this herb. It was called dream-searching grass and was a very rare herb. Sister Qingtang, you saved me. I don't know how to repay you. The young Feng Jiuyo smiled at Yi Qingtang. I spent a lot of effort to secretly get this herb. No need. It was a piece of cake for me to save you just now. Furthermore, this herb of yours is useless to me. Keep it for yourself. Yi Qingtang looked at Feng Jiuyo and smiled. Feng Jiuyo was deep in thought after hearing Yi Qingtang's words. After a while he said, Sister Qingtang, you previously said that you are not a native and are unfamiliar with this place. So, where are you planning to go? Where? Yi Qingtang scanned her surroundings. She did not know where she should go. She had only thought about re-entering the ancient god Karma Tunnel, but now the tunnel had transported her to this past era. Yi Qingtang did not know what her next step would be. Although she was no stranger to this world, the people she was familiar with had not been bombed yet. Especially since she was in the third domain, and had never visited the divine venerate domain before. She was very unfamiliar with everything there. Wonder if there is any way to obtain the power of the heart of the heavenly Tao in this era. Yi Qingtang thought to herself. Seeing Yi Qingtang remain silent, the young Feng Jiuyo tugged at the corner of her clothes and smiled. Sister Qingtang, do you want to come home with me? Sister Qingtang, please come to my house as a guest. After pondering for a moment, Yi Qingtang finally nodded and agreed. There should not be any problem visiting Feng Jiuyo's house. The most important thing now was to find a place to settle down and figure out the situation of this era. Otherwise, she would be like a headless fly wandering around the divine venerate domain. If she was not careful, she might even lose her life. Chapter 2582. In this era 3, after Yi Qingtang agreed, Feng Jiuyo excitedly dragged her along. Along the way, Yi Qingtang learned about the situation in Feng Jiuyo's house from him. The Feng family was just an extremely ordinary and small family. It was not like what was recorded in history, that he was born in a major faction in the third domain. They did not have any powerful bloodline, especially Feng Jiuyo, whose martial art skills were only mediocre. But he worked harder than any of his peers. Feng Jiuyo had already spent a lot of effort to be able to become a divine lord, and he seemed to be stuck at this level. Therefore, Feng Jiuyo took the risk to head up the mountain to see if he could find some precious herbs to help him break through his bottleneck. Yi Qingtang could not believe it. Feng Jiuyo would become such a formidable force in the future. To think that he was so mediocre as a youth and someone who took so much effort just to break through to the Divine Lord stage. In the future, Feng Jiuyo would be famous for killing and becoming the Sage Emperor of Swords. There were even records in history that Feng Jiuyo had long surpassed himself. In that attack against the Sky Moon Tower, Feng Jiuyo shattered the void, broke through the Tao and became an immortal, going on to an even higher realm. Of course, most people didn't believe in such legends. It was said that those who broke the Tao could achieve immortality, but who had ever seen a true immortal? It was said that those who broke through the Tao would go on to an even higher realm, but who had seen that realm? In the hearts of the people, all that was just a beautiful lie to motivate the martial arts practitioners of the world in their endless pursuit of immortality. Even Yi Qingtang had not believed in that. She thought that after Feng Jiuyo's attack, he might have just died from overexhaustion. However, Yi Qingtang had now overturned all her previous conjectures because of the yellow dog. It turned out that there was indeed an upper realm. Could it be that the former supreme experts, such as Feng Jiuyo, had disrupted the natural laws of the world and broken through the void, becoming immortals and entering the upper realm? The big yellow dog once said that as long as one had enough strength, they could disrupt the natural laws in the lower realm and become qualified to enter the upper realm. Perhaps Feng Jiuyo and those former supreme experts from even earlier eras did not die. Yi Qingtang also thought of something else. The ancient god Karma Tunnel sent her to this era. If she caused some changes now, would it result in some chain reaction into the future? For example, if she killed a certain expert in this era, then returned to her own era, would that expert still exist? Did that mean he and his descendants would all disappear? Or what would happen if she became good friends with the Heavenly Emperor or the demon god Han Songming in this era? Would their memories change after she returned to her own era? To put it simply, now that she was acquainted with the young Feng Jiuyo, if she returned to her own era and met Feng Jiuyo again, would Feng Jiuyo remember her? If she didn't do anything in this era that would change in the future, that was fine. But if her actions directly affected the future world? Chapter 2583. In this era 4, Sister Qingtang, we're here. This is my house. Just as Yi Qingtang was deep in thought, the young Feng Jiuyo tugged at the corner of her clothes. It was only after hearing Feng Jiuyo that Yi Qingtang returned to her senses. Directly ahead was a mansion with a plaque hanging above. Feng family. Jiuyo, call me Yiyu, Yi Qingtang suddenly said. Feng Jiuyo was slightly taken aback by Yi Qingtang's words, and he looked at her in confusion. Sister Qingtang, didn't you say that your name was Yi Qingtang? Now it's Yiyu? Feng Jiuyo had never heard that a person's name could change. Jiuyo, I met you for the first time and am not familiar with you, so I did not tell you my real name, Yi Qingtang casually lied. The reason why she could not use Yi Qingtang's name was that she did not know whether this era would affect the future. Therefore, it was better to use another name. It was better to be safe than sorry. Alright, Sister Yiyu. This name is much better than Yi Qingtang anyway. Feng Jiuyo smiled. Yi Qingtang. Sister Yu, let's enter, said Feng Jiuyo. Yi Qingtang nodded and entered the Feng estate with Feng Jiuyo. The Feng family was different from large clans flourishing with numerous members. There were not many people in this family. Including the Feng disciples, there were only about a dozen people. As soon as she entered the Feng residence, Yi Qingtang saw many youths who were about the same age as Feng Jiuyo. Every single one of these youths possessed a cultivation at least at the second heaven level divine lord. The highest among them had already reached the fourth heaven level. Seeing this scene, Yi Qingtang could not help but sigh. How old were these youths? They already had the power of a divine lord at such a young age. Even in the mixed heavens holy domain, they would be considered rare, genius talents. Of course, the martial arts culture in the mixed heavens holy domain was still much inferior to the divine venerate domain. Therefore, Yi Qingtang was not surprised that these youths already had the cultivation level of a divine lord at such a young age. Jiuyo, who is this sister? A young man walked over and sized up Yi Qingtang curiously. She's Sister Yiyu. I met her outside. Sister Yiyu helped me when I was in danger. Feng Jiuyo smiled. Hello, Sister Yu. The young man greeted Yi Qingtang very politely. Yi Qingtang smiled and nodded at the youth. Qingtang, no, Sister Yu, these are my siblings, Feng Jiuyo introduced. Sister Yiyu is really good looking. She's even better looking than the eldest daughter of the Feng Yin family. The young man smiled. Yi Qingtang. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website, my thanks. This young man was so good with words. Sister Yu, let's go. I'll take you to see my father and mother. Feng Jiuyo grabbed Yi Qingtang and strode towards the inner hall. In the inner hall, a young couple was grinding some herbs. When they saw Feng Jiuyo enter with an unfamiliar woman, they immediately stopped and looked at Yi Qingtang. Jiuyo, who is this lady? Mother Feng asked. Mother, this is Sister Yiyu. She came from the mixed heavens holy domain. When I was in danger, it was Sister Yiyu who saved me, said Feng Jiuyo. Jiuyo, what's wrong with you today? Mother Feng frowned as he looked at Feng Jiuyo. He was already at this age. Why was he getting up to mischief every day? Furthermore, this was not the only time. It seemed that Feng Jiuyo would encounter a few crises every month, which made Mother Feng extremely worried. Miss Yiyu, is it? Thank you. Mother Feng smiled at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang shook her head and said softly, it was nothing. In fact, Yi Qingtang did not expect that a divine lord practitioner like Feng Jiuyo would be afraid of water. By the way, I heard from Jiuyo that Miss Yiyu is not a local. Are you from the mixed heavens holy domain? After a while, Father Feng stepped forward and asked Yi Qingtang. That's right. I am indeed from the mixed heavens holy domain. Yi Qingtang nodded. This is my first time in the divine venerate domain, and I happened to meet Feng Jiuyo who fell into the water, and I saved him. Falling into the water. Mother Feng sized up Feng Jiuyo with an unhappy expression. Jiuyo, you went to MT Zhong again? Feng Jiuyo chuckled uneasily. His parents never allowed him to go to such places. He always had to sneak over there. Miss Yiyu, this must seem like a joke to you. This is not the first time Jiuyo has fallen into the water. Although he is a divine lord, he gets nervous the moment he falls into the water, Father Feng said to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang did not say much about this. It was just that she did not expect the future famous Feng Jiuyo to know about the fear water. After a while, Mother Feng said to Yi Qingtang, Miss Yiyu is really something. You came to the divine venerate domain from the mixed heavens holy domain all alone. Do you have any relatives or friends here? No, I just wanted to experience the divine venerate domain, Yi Qingtang said with a smile. Dad, Mom, Sister Yiyu is unfamiliar with this place and doesn't have any friends here. Why don't we let Sister Yiyu stay here for a few days, so that she can get to know this place better. Feng Jiuyo suggested. Father Feng stared at Yi Qingtang thoughtfully. After a long while he looked at Mother Feng, who nodded and said to Yi Qingtang, Miss Yiyu, although our Feng family is just a small family clan, we have many guest rooms. If you don't mind, you can stay here for a few days. How about that? Thank you, and I am sorry to trouble you. Yi Qingtang responded. It would be best for Yi Qingtang if she could stay in the Feng family for a few days. Yi Qingtang glanced towards Father and Mother Feng and considered them. Their skills were not considered strong either. They were only at the second heaven level Divine Lord. Not everyone in the Divine Venerate domain was an expert. Most practitioners had average martial arts skills and did not have outstanding bloodline powers. Most peaked at the fourth heaven level Divine Lord. Only an extremely small percentage of practitioners managed to enter the Immortal Emperor stage. Actually, small factions did produce many descendants and disciples whose martial arts strength was extremely strong. They displayed extremely powerful bloodline powers and martial arts talent from a young age. However, it was rather common for such folks to die prematurely in the Divine Venerate domain. Many regions were under the control of massive factions. Those large factions would never allow those talented martial arts practitioners from the small factions to survive. Once discovered, they would use all sorts of methods to destroy them. Wonder what Miss Yiyu's cultivation level is? I can't deduce it at all. Father Feng examined Yi Qingtang. Compared to the Divine Venerate domain, the level of the martial arts culture in the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain was indeed inferior. Although there were many Emperor-level experts and immortal emperors in the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain, their numbers were still much fewer compared to the Divine Venerate domain. Their skills quality was also inferior. Divine Lord level. Yi Qingtang answered truthfully. Oh. Father Feng's eyes lit up. Yi Qingtang found Father Feng's expression rather strange. A Divine Lord should be considered only an ordinary cultivator to the Divine Venerate domain. For example, Feng Jiuyo and the rest had already entered the Divine Lord stage at such a young age. If they were in the second domain, they would be considered extremely formidable. There were probably only a handful of 12 to 13-year-old Divine Lords in the entire Mixed Heavens Holy Domain. Of course, there had been an 8-heaven-level Divine Lord in the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain who was only about 10 years old. But that was an exception and not the norm. Yi Qingtang followed Feng Jiuyo to the guest room. In the blink of an eye, Yi Qingtang had been in the Feng family residence for 2 days. During those 2 days, Yi Qingtang did not remain idle. She had already scouted everything that needed to be investigated. Yi Qingtang was at the bottom of the mountain called Mtizhong. This place belonged to the north of the Divine Venerate domain, and there were many small factions within a radius of hundreds of kilometers. The Feng family was one of them. Furthermore, in Mtizhong, the other races were the most powerful. Although the Feng family had many Divine Lords, the family's strength and status were at the bottom of the hierarchy in Mtizhong. Over the past 2 days, Yi Qingtang managed to gather only this bit of information. As for how she could leave this era and obtain the energy of the heart of the heavenly Tao, she did not have a clue. All in all, this made Yi Qingtang feel rather helpless. In the current situation, Yi Qingtang could only take things one step at a time. In this strange era where martial arts flourished and demons thrived, with Yi Qingtang's skill level, there was not much that she could not do. She was like a lonely boat in the sea, drifting along with the waves. At noon, in the guest room, Yi Qingtang slowly opened her eyes and a red light flashed across her brows. 7th Heaven Level Divine Lord. Yi Qingtang was amazed. It had only been 2 days since she came to this strange era, but Yi Qingtang's cultivation level had already broken through from the 5th Heaven level to the 7th. This speed was unbelievable to Yi Qingtang. According to the norm, if she was in the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain, it would take at least half a year for her to break through from the 5th to the 6th heaven level. If she was unlucky, it might even take several years or decades. However, in just 2 days after arriving at this era, Yi Qingtang actually advanced 2 consecutive levels to the 7th heaven level Divine Lord. Even Yi Qingtang found it hard to believe. No one would believe her if she told them. It was just too ridiculous. What's going on? Yi Qingtang sat on the couch with a strange expression. Yi Qingtang lowered her head and looked at her heart. The seal that the divine phoenix had placed on the heart of Heavenly Tao was already very loose. Even if the heart of Heavenly Tao was not absorbing her cultivation and limiting her growth, it would still be impossible for her to reach the 7th heaven level so quickly. Yi Qingtang closed her eyes and examined herself. Something must have gone wrong. In this era, especially in the divine venerate domain, the spirit energy was much richer than in the mixed heavens holy domain. However, no matter how rich the spirit energy was, it should not have such an abnormal rate of growth. Within the Divine Lord stage, the progress between each heaven level was extremely slow. How could one's martial strength soar from the 5th heaven level to the 7th in just 2 days? 7th heaven level Divine Lord? Before Yi Qingtang could examine herself, the red light between her brows flashed again. What's going on? Yi Qingtang opened her eyes quickly, filled with shock. She had just broken through to the 7th heaven level Divine Lord. She had not done anything at all, but now, she had progressed to the 8th. If this continued, wouldn't she become an emperor-level expert practitioner soon? Divine Lord, early 9th heaven level. It had happened in just a few breaths' time. Yi Qingtang was dumbstruck. Her cultivation level had once again advanced, and somehow she was now at the 9th heaven level. It was common knowledge that there were only 9 heaven levels in the Divine Lord stage. If she continued to break through, she would become a sub-emperor, and then an emperor level. Can I continue to break through? At that moment, for some reason, Yi Qingtang was secretly looking forward to it. It would be best if she directly broke through to the emperor level. Yi Qingtang could not be bothered to ask why this was happening. Anyway, with these breakthroughs, her strength would be increased by more than 100 times. This was a good thing for Yi Qingtang. However, Yi Qingtang's expectations fell through in the end. After her cultivation level reached the mid-stage 9th heaven level Divine Lord, and she was just about to become a sub-emperor, there was suddenly no more movement. It was as if everything that had happened before was just an illusion. If not for her full strength and aura as a 9th heaven level Divine Lord, Yi Qingtang might have thought that she had just been hallucinating. The power of the heavenly demon bloodline. After about 15 minutes, Yi Qingtang returned to her senses. Her bloodline was actually devouring her divine phoenix bloodline. All along, Yi Qingtang had 2 bloodline powers in her body. The first bloodline was a variant heavenly demon bloodline that could devour all things. The other bloodline was the divine phoenix bloodline she had obtained from the divine phoenix's legacy. However, for a long time, both bloodlines had coexisted harmoniously inside her. They minded their own business, and there was never any sign of bloodline rejection. But now, for some reason, the heavenly demon bloodline was crazily attacking the divine phoenix bloodline in her body. This was not a good thing for Yi Qingtang. Although the devouring power made her heavenly demon bloodline stronger, her divine phoenix bloodline would completely disappear if this continued. Yi Qingtang was very grateful to the divine phoenix. Not only did she inherit the divine phoenix's legacy, but it was also the divine phoenix who helped her seal the heart of heavenly Tao back then. How could Yi Qingtang watch as the divine phoenix bloodline was completely absorbed by the heavenly demon bloodline? However, Yi Qingtang was powerless to stop it. Not only that, Yi Qingtang was shocked to discover that the power of the divine phoenix in her body did not resist at all. In the blink of an eye, it was completely devoured by the mutated heavenly demon bloodline. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. In this current situation, she really did not know whether to laugh or cry. Within moments, the power of the divine phoenix bloodline had been completely devoured by the extremely domineering heavenly demon devouring bloodline. Not a single drop remained. Actually, Yi Qingtang knew all along. The mutated heavenly demon devouring bloodline could devour everything. It could even devour heaven and earth. The reason why the heavenly demon devouring bloodline had not stirred in her body for so long, and why it did not attack the divine phoenix bloodline was entirely because the former's power was still weak, and it did not dare to provoke the latter. But for some reason, Just a few days after arriving in this strange era, not only had Yi Qingtang broken through from the 5th heaven level Divine Lord to the mid-stage 9th level extremely quickly, she was also very close to the sub-emperor stage. Even her heavenly demon devouring bloodline had become much more powerful than before. In Yi Qingtang's era, her heavenly demon devouring bloodline was still weak like an infant. However, the situation was different now. This infant had suddenly grown into a burly man and was no longer afraid. He finally made a move on the Divine Phoenix bloodline. Not only that, after completely devouring the Divine Phoenix bloodline, Yi Qingtang could clearly feel that her heavenly demon devouring bloodline had grown by too much. Yi Qingtang looked at the cup on the table and reached out her hand. In the next second, the water glass shattered and the water in it tumbled into natural energy that was absorbed into Yi Qingtang's body. The scene made Yi Qingtang speechless. Fortunately, she could still control the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. Otherwise, wouldn't the bloodline devour her too? What an extremely domineering bloodline power. Unfortunately, although her heavenly demon devouring bloodline was extremely domineering, it could not differentiate between friend and foe. When it completely swallowed the Divine Phoenix bloodline, Yi Qingtang vaguely felt that she had let the Divine Phoenix down. No matter what. Before Yi Qingtang had time to feel guilty, a red flame instantly surged out of her palm. What? Yi Qingtang was startled. This kind of flame was exclusive to the Divine Phoenix bloodline, and her Divine Phoenix bloodline had already been devoured by the heavenly demon bloodline. Why was she still able to use the power of the Divine Phoenix bloodline? Everything that was happening had completely exceeded Yi Qingtang's understanding. Am I in a blessed paradise? Yi Qingtang muttered in surprise. However, Yi Qingtang quickly rejected that notion. This place was completely different from the wonderland that the big yellow dog mentioned. But if it was not a wonderland, how to explain everything that had happened? In just 2 days, she had advanced from the 5th heaven level Divine Lord to a cultivation level that was close to that of a sub-emperor. Even her heavenly demon devouring bloodline had undergone a significant leap. Furthermore, she could still use the power of the Divine Phoenix bloodline, which had been devoured by the heavenly demon bloodline. It was all too unbelievable. Before Yi Qingtang could think further, the originally red flame in her palm turned pitch black. It was like an eternal fire from the deepest depths of hell. Could this be? Yi Qingtang stared at the black flame in her palm thoughtfully. This power was countless times stronger than the Divine Phoenix bloodline. In the guest room, Yi Qingtang tilted her head and sized up the black flame in her palm. The only thing she was certain of now was that her Divine Phoenix bloodline had indeed been devoured. However, Yi Qingtang could not understand why such this could happen after that bloodline was devoured. Could it be that, after the heavenly demon bloodline devours other bloodlines, in addition to strengthening the heavenly demon bloodline, the attributes and power of the devoured bloodline can also be completely preserved? Yi Qingtang was deep in thought. For now, that was the only explanation. Actually, this was very logical. Yi Qingtang's mutated heavenly demon bloodline was like a huge water vat, while the water in the vat was the bloodline swallowed by it. The water was still there, but it had entered the water vat from another place and strengthened it. Like this, the water itself was still preserved. Furthermore, this water tank was simply a bottomless pit. No matter how much water was poured in, it would not overflow. Although Yi Qingtang had the heavenly demon bloodline, she rarely used it. All along, Yi Qingtang used the Divine Phoenix bloodline more often. However, the growth of the Divine Phoenix bloodline was slow, and could not be compared to the heavenly demon bloodline at all, much less the mutated version. Regardless, the thing that troubled Yi Qingtang the most was why her cultivation level improved so quickly after she came to this era. She had not practiced any cultivation at all, while her heavenly demon devouring bloodline also received an unimaginable enhancement. Forcing herself to calm down, Yi Qingtang started to examine her body. When martial arts practitioners focused their minds, especially after they reached the Divine Lord stage, they would be able to sense the changes in their bodies. They could even use their perception to display specific details, which were even clearer than using the naked eye to observe. After observing for a long time, Yi Qingtang finally found some clues. Above her dantian was an indescribable black vortex, and inside the vortex was a pitch-black pearl. Heavenly demon pearl? Yi Qingtang's expression changed. She did not recognize the heavenly demon pearl at first glance, but after thinking for a while, Yi Qingtang snapped out of her trance. What else could that black pearl in her dantian be but the heavenly demon pearl? Back then, when she was still in the first domain, the little azure dragon disguised itself as a master refiner and brought her into the dragon vein. There were 3 legacies in the dragon vein. The most precious and powerful legacy was the heavenly demon. Yi Yu had obtained the heavenly demon legacy first, but later fell into Ling Yan's trap. To save herself, Yi Yu had no choice but to spit out the heavenly demon pearl. After that, the heavenly demon pearl landed in Yi Qingtang's hands. Yi Qingtang had always kept this heavenly demon pearl in her dantian, but did not see any miraculous effects. As time passed, Yi Qingtang completely forgot about the heavenly demon pearl. As Yi Qingtang continued to examine herself, she saw the heavenly demon pearl. Only then did she remember. At this moment, an extremely majestic demonic aura radiated from the heavenly demon pearl, fusing with the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. When the heavenly demon devouring bloodline encountered the heavenly demon pearl, it was like a water dragon entering the sea. An unbelievable change occurred. The heavenly demon devouring bloodline became increasingly domineering and powerful. The luster of the heavenly demon pearl also became brighter. It was also because of this that Yi Qingtang's cultivation level advanced by an unimaginable margin. However, Yi Qingtang was frustrated to see that a small portion of the energy had been absorbed by her heart of the heavenly Tao. Even though the seal on the heart of heavenly Tao had not been completely removed, it could already automatically absorb Yi Qingtang's power due to the loosening. If not for the heart of heavenly Tao, Yi Qingtang might have already become a sub-emperor. Chapter 2589. Battle of the Kings 1. Not only did the heart of heavenly Tao not bring Yi Qingtang any benefits, but it also kept absorbing her cultivation level and snatching her good fortune from her. It seemed to be the case that the heart of the heavenly Tao brought her indescribable bad luck. At that moment, Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered. Some thoughts formed in her mind. Yi Qingtang now knew that the heavenly demon devouring bloodline in her body was very powerful and domineering. In that case, could the heavenly demon devouring bloodline absorb all the power from her heart of the heavenly Tao? At the thought of this, Yi Qingtang's expression changed slightly, and an indescribable glint surfaced in her eyes. If the mutant heavenly demon bloodline in her body could really absorb the power of the heart of the heavenly Tao in her, it would be a huge blessing for her. However, Yi Qingtang was in a dilemma. Although her idea was not bad, how could she let her heavenly demon devouring bloodline know the existence of the heart of the heavenly Tao and discover its power? Even though the heavenly demon devouring bloodline had an extremely domineering devouring ability, it was useless if it could not discover the Tao energy of the heart of the heavenly Tao. The situation was different from before. The divine phoenix bloodline did not have a shell wrapped around it, nor did it conceal the aura of its own bloodline. Therefore, the heavenly demon devouring bloodline had long coveted the divine phoenix bloodline, while the heart of heavenly Tao was a little special. Firstly, the heart was a shell, and the Tao power was hidden deep inside. There was no reason for the heavenly demon devouring bloodline to pay special attention to its owner's heart. If she wanted the heavenly demon devouring bloodline to meet the heart of the heavenly Tao, the bloodline would need some guidance. The heart of the heavenly Tao cannot be controlled. Yi Qingtang was deep in thought. So it was now down to whether she could control the power of the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. If she could not direct the power of the heavenly demon devouring bloodline, then she would have to give up this idea. It would be useless. Yi Qingtang tried to communicate with the power of the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. Initially, the heavenly demon devouring bloodline seemed to be rather unwilling to follow Yi Qingtang's instructions. However, in the end, the heavenly demon devouring bloodline compromised and was guided by Yi Qingtang to slowly search for the heart. After about an hour, Yi Qingtang was already sweating profusely. Under Yi Qingtang's guidance, The heavenly demon devouring bloodline finally met the heart of the heavenly Tao. It had to be said that even though Yi Qingtang was close to the sub-emperor stage, it was still very difficult for her to control the power of the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. Fortunately, the heavenly demon devouring bloodline was relatively cooperative. If it refused to cooperate with her, Yi visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Qingtang would be helpless. The heavenly demon devouring bloodline had just swallowed her divine emperor bloodline. Yi Qingtang had no choice but to humble herself to it. At that moment, Yi Qingtang continued to carefully guide the power of the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. If she was careless and the heavenly demon devouring bloodline swallowed her entire heart, she would end up dying for nothing. Under Yi Qingtang's careful guidance, the heavenly demon devouring bloodline gently surrounded the heart of heavenly Tao in Yi Qingtang's body. After waiting quietly for a long time, Yi Qingtang realized that her heart of the heavenly Tao did not have any reaction at all. It seemed to remain in a deep sleep. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2590, Battle of the Kings. 2. Gradually, Yi Qingtang could sense that her heavenly demon devouring bloodline was resisting her. It wanted to come back the way it came, and did not want to waste time here. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. Could it be that even the heavenly demon devouring bloodline could not devour the power of the heart of the heavenly Tao? Yi Qingtang did not think too much, and let the heavenly demon devouring bloodline radiate an extremely overbearing engulfing power. As this power erupted near her heart, Yi Qingtang's heart of heavenly Tao finally moved. The heart of heavenly Tao, which was still sealed, was awakened by the engulfing power radiated by the heavenly demon bloodline. It seemed to instinctively burst out with a rich Tao power. In the next second, Yi Qingtang's face turned pale, and a stream of blood trickled down the corner of her lips. In her current state, Yi Qingtang could not withstand too much of the Tao power emitted by the heart of the heavenly Tao. It was unlike the power of the heavenly demon bloodline, which was originally a part of Yi Qingtang's body. Therefore, no matter how domineering and powerful the heavenly demon devouring bloodline was, it would not harm Yi Qingtang. However, the heart of the heavenly Tao was different. The great Tao power of the heart of the heavenly Tao was not part of Yi Qingtang. Therefore, Yi Qingtang could not endure it too much. However, Yi Qingtang gritted her teeth and endured it. She must not give up at this critical juncture, or all her efforts would be for naught. Attack! A cold glint flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes as she gave the heavenly demon devouring bloodline an order. However, what surprised Yi Qingtang was that this time, the heavenly demon devouring bloodline did not comply. Instead, it paced around the heart of the heavenly Tao very cautiously. It did not attack nor retreat. In the next second, the heavenly demon devouring bloodline near her heart increased, and became more intense. As the intensity of the heavenly demon bloodlines increased, the heart of the heavenly Tao also had a defensive reaction, wanting to isolate the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. At this moment, the heavenly demon devouring bloodline had completely surrounded the heart of the heavenly Tao. It was like a beast lying dormant, waiting for its prey to make a mistake and deliver a fatal blow. Don't disappoint me, Yi Qingtang muttered as she observed the situation in her body. As long as the heavenly demon bloodline swallowed all the Tao power of the heart of the heavenly Tao, the heavenly demon devouring bloodline would undergo a qualitative leap again, and might even produce an even greater mutation. Meanwhile, Yi Qingtang could completely transform the great Tao power into her own. It would be like killing two birds with one stone. In the next second, the power of the heavenly demon bloodline erupted with a covetous and overbearing engulfing energy, instantly swallowing the entire core of the heart of the heavenly Tao. Fortunately, the heavenly demon bloodline knew its limits. It only devoured the defensive Tao power of the heart of the heavenly Tao, all the while remaining conscious of Yi Qingtang's heart, and did not injure it at all. After about half an hour later, Yi Qingtang saw that the heavenly demon bloodline had completely devoured a portion of the Tao power. However, the actions of the heavenly demon devouring bloodline seemed to have completely enraged the heart of the heavenly Tao. Yi Qingtang's body seemed to have become a huge battlefield, with the heavenly demon devouring bloodline and the heart of the heavenly Tao as the two main opposing forces. Dumbstruck, Yi Qingtang could only watch on as the battle raged inside her body between the two sides. This was a battle between two mighty kings. The power of the heavenly demon devouring bloodline was too domineering. The second wave of power released by the heart of the heavenly Tao was absorbed by the heavenly demon devouring bloodline once more. Yi Qingtang finally understood the true terror of the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. The other terrifying bloodlines that Yi Qingtang knew of would not even be able to raise their heads in front of the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. Perhaps not even the Lady in Green and the heavenly demon tribe themselves had expected the mutated heavenly demon devouring bloodline to be so terrifying. It could devour everything, be it cultivation levels, bloodlines, or anything else. They could all be forcibly absorbed by the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. Yi Qingtang knew that once knowledge of this bloodline was spread out, she would definitely be killed. No one would wish for the existence of the heavenly demon devouring bloodline in this world. They would not want their strength and bloodline would be swallowed by others. The heavenly demon devouring bloodline could be classified as a public enemy. It was a truly forbidden bloodline. Since ancient times, there were only a few forbidden bloodlines recorded in history books. The heavenly demon devouring bloodline was one of them. However, even the mutated heavenly demon devouring bloodline noted in the historical records was not as domineering as the one in Yi Qingtang's body. The battle within her body continued. The heart of the heavenly Tao seemed to be in a defensive state, and did not release its full power. It seemed to have some concerns, and was unwilling to waste the great Tao power. With the immense Tao power of the heart of the heavenly Tao, if it went all out, even the heavenly demon devouring bloodline might not have any chance of winning. Just a trace of the great Tao power unleashed by the heart of the heavenly Tao had nearly caused grievous injury to the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. Who knew how much more Tao power was contained in the heart of the heavenly Tao? Yi Qingtang had already made up her mind that once the heavenly demon devouring bloodline lost, she would immediately take away the heavenly demon bloodline and not let anything happen to it. This bloodline was too important to Yi Qingtang, and she could not afford to risk it. However, Yi Qingtang did not expect that after the two waves of attacks from the heavenly demon devouring bloodline, the heart of the heavenly Tao suddenly retreated into her heart, not giving the heavenly demon devouring bloodline any chance to continue devouring. No matter how the heavenly demon devouring bloodline provoked it, the heart of the heavenly Tao ignored it. It was as if the heart of the heavenly Tao was sentient and knew that the heavenly demon devouring bloodline would not dare to touch the heart. After a while, the heavenly demon devouring bloodline finally gave up. It waited for its master to give it the next order. Helpless, Yi Qingtang could only guide the heavenly demon devouring bloodline back the way it came. It didn't work. Yi Qingtang wiped the blood off the corner of her lips and mused. The heavenly demon devouring bloodline was indeed extremely domineering, but if the heart of the heavenly Tao had fought seriously, the heavenly demon devouring bloodline would not stand any advantage. Furthermore, the current heavenly demon devouring bloodline had not truly grown to its peak. Moreover, the heart of the heavenly Tao continued to hide. Yi Qingtang and the heavenly demon devouring bloodline could not do anything to it. However, although Yi Qingtang's idea did not succeed, she still gained a lot this time. The Tao energy devoured by the heavenly demon devouring bloodline was stronger than anything Yi Qingtang had encountered in the past. In the next second, Yi Qingtang's eyes turned completely white, and even her pupils disappeared. Is this the power of the great Tao? Yi Qingtang muttered and pointed at the empty space in front of her. The sound of glass breaking rang out. At that moment, Yi Qingtang was completely expressionless. Her face was cold and her eyes were completely white. Coldness surrounded her as if she had already escaped the boundaries of humanity and morphed into the unknown. With that point of her finger, Yi Qingtang shattered the void and formed a finger-sized black hole. Soon after, The damaged black hole was quickly repaired and Yi Qingtang's snow-white eyes returned to normal. Yi Qingtang gasped lightly. The power of the great Tao alone was terrifying. It was as if she was standing at the top of the world and wanted to step on everything. It was so dangerous that it could even make her lose her mind. Having returned to normal now, Yi Qingtang was extremely shocked. The heavenly demon devouring bloodline only swallowed a trace of the great Tao power, but this sliver of energy was already so terrifying. If she could absorb all the great Tao power, what would happen then? However, it seemed that as long as the heart of the heavenly Tao remained hidden, she and the heavenly demon devouring bloodline did not have any good solution. Nevertheless, Yi Qingtang was not discouraged. No matter what, she had already succeeded somewhat. She had managed to snatch some of the Tao power, and this was enough to prove that it was possible. As for how she could snatch all the great Tao power from the heart of the heavenly Tao, she could only wait for an opportunity. Surely there should be a way to fulfill her wish in this era. Yi Qingtang checked her body again. The heavenly demon bloodline had also suffered a major blow just now. However, with the heavenly demon pearl, the heavenly demon devouring bloodline's recovery speed was also extremely fast, so Yi Qingtang did not need to worry too much. However, there was still something that Yi Qingtang did not understand. Why did the power of the heavenly demon bloodline and the heavenly demon pearl improve so much after she arrived in this era? If she had the chance, she had to study this matter. Perhaps there was still a chance for her heavenly demon pearl and the heavenly demon devouring bloodline to improve. Sister Yi Yu. Just as Yi Qingtang was deep in thought, the young Feng Juyo shouted from outside and knocked on the door. Getting to her feet, Yi Qingtang walked over to open the door. Looking at the sweating Feng Juyo, she asked curiously, "Juyo, what's wrong?" "Sister Yi Yu, do you have time?" The young Feng Juyo wiped the sweat off his face and asked Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang smiled and said to Feng Juyo, "Your parents told me to look after you and not allow you to go to the middle of the mountain." Yi Qingtang thought that Feng Juyo wanted to drag her to Mt Zhong to search for herbs again. "That's not it, Sister Yi Yu. I don't want to go to the middle of the mountain." Feng Juyo explained, "Sister Yi Yu, do you want to cultivate with us? As you're from the mixed heavens holy domain, your strength isn't that strong." Yi Qingtang. In the end, Yi Qingtang still agreed. It seemed she couldn't bring herself to reject this future legendary figure. "Sister Yi Yu, I've reached a bottleneck, but I still have to work harder. We can cultivate together and become experts in the future. I don't want to see the Feng family continue to be bullied." The young Feng Juyo clenched his fists. "Juyo, did something happen?" Yi Qingtang frowned. Feng Juyo stared at Yi Qingtang and seemed to want to say something. In the end, he only shook his head. "Sister Yi Yu, it's nothing. Let's cultivate together." Chapter 2593. Unparalleled 1. Yi Qingtang could tell that there was something on Feng Juyu's mind. But since he was unwilling to say anything, she didn't want to probe. Soon after, Yi Qingtang followed Feng Juyo to the Feng family's training ground. The Feng family's training arena was quite spacious, but there were not many people. At a glance, apart from the few youths that Feng Juyo had introduced 2 days ago, there were also a few older martial artists. "Sister Yi Yu, why are you here?" The young man who had praised Yi Qingtang for her good looks walked to Yi Qingtang's side and smiled. From Feng Juyu's introduction, Yi Qingtang knew that this young man's name was Feng Wuyin. He was only 10 years old, and was considered the youngest junior in the Feng family. Seeing Feng Wuyin step forward, Yi Qingtang nodded and said to Feng Wuyin, "I came to train with you guys." Yi Qingtang had a very good impression of these young men from the Feng family. These children from the Feng family were the most naive martial arts practitioners Yi Qingtang had ever seen, and did not have the maturity and shrewdness that came with age. At this stage, they were still considered innocent and pure. It was very relaxing for Yi Qingtang to be with these young men. "Sister Yi Yu, really? Then Sister Yi Yu, can you teach me and Brother Jiuyo? We've already reached a bottleneck. Whether it be martial art skills or cultivation level, we can't improve further." Feng Wuyin reached out to tug at Yi Qingtang's sleeve and stared at her with big watery eyes. Yi Qingtang. Before Yi Qingtang could speak, a young man looked over and walked over to Feng Jiuyo and Feng Wuyin with an impassive expression. Feng Jiuyo, Feng Wuyin, who is she? The man asked as his gaze landed on Yi Qingtang. Brother Feng Song, this is Sister Yi Yu, a guest of our Feng family. She saved me when I was at MT Zhong, and will be staying with our Feng family for a few days. Feng Jiuyo hurriedly explained to the young man. Feng Song frowned as he said coldly, Feng Jiuyo, who asked you to bring a stranger into our Feng family as a guest? Why is she staying here for a few days? Do you know her background? Feng Jiuyo immediately nodded and said, Brother Feng Song, I do know. Sister Yi Yu is a visitor from the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain to the Divine Venerate Domain. The other young men looked at each other in dismay. They then looked disdainfully at Yi Qingtang. The Mixed Heavens Holy Domain was just a second-class domain with a backward martial arts culture. The condescension of a higher domain for a lower domain was the same ever since ancient times. The martial arts practitioners of the first domain's Blue Sky Domain looked down on the mainland. Meanwhile, the second domain's Mixed Heavens Holy Domain had never taken the Blue Sky Domain seriously. The Divine Venerate Domain naturally did not take the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain seriously either. If the fourth domain had not been destroyed, the fourth domain probably would have looked down upon the third domain too. This sense of superiority, some were born with it, while others were nurtured. Such situations more or less existed in every domain. It was not rare. However, Yi Qingtang could not help shaking her head as she looked at Feng Song and the rest. It was true that the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain could not be compared to the Divine Venerate Domain. However, it was one thing for the top-notch experts of the Divine Venerate Domain to look down on the martial arts culture of the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain. But these people were only at the most ordinary Divine Lord stage. Where did this sense of superiority come from? Chapter 2594. Unparalleled 2. Feng Jiuyo looked at Feng Zong unhappily. Don't say that about Sister Yi Yu. She's my benefactor. Besides, my parents asked Sister Yi Yu to stay here as a guest. Feng Zong sneered. If anything happens, even your parents won't be able to bear the responsibility. Brother Feng Song, Sister Yi Yu is a girl. How can you say that? Feng Wuyin said to Feng Song. So what if she is a girl? There's no division between males and females in martial arts. Feng Jiuyo, immediately have this woman leave the Feng family. Otherwise, if anything happens, you and your parents won't be able to bear the consequences, Feng Zong repeated. Before the young Feng Jiuyo could say anything, Feng Song's gaze landed on Yi Qingtang. With a condescending look, he said coldly, Miss, the Divine Venerate Domain is not a place you can enter as and when you please. I advise you to return to where you came from. It's not impossible to leap through the dragon gate, but you must be a true dragon first. A fish will forever be a fish and cannot transform into a dragon. Yi Qingtang smiled and did not say anything. What's happening? An old man suddenly appeared at the training grounds. He frowned at Feng Song and the rest. Everyone was stunned when they saw the old man. Feng Song and the others immediately stepped forward with respectful expressions and cupped their fists. Patriarch. Yi Qingtang sized up the old man. This old man was the current patriarch of the Feng family, and his cultivation level was at the peak of the 7th heaven level Divine Lord. In a small place like this, especially a small power like the Feng family, there were very few emperor-level experts. At least in the past decade or so, the Feng family had not had any emperor-level practitioners, not even any sub-emperors. From this, it could be seen that the cultivation level of this Feng family patriarch, who was at the 7th heaven level, was already considered not bad. Patriarch Feng Jiuyo and his parents allowed an unknown person to stay in our Feng family estate. I find it to be more than a little inappropriate. Feng Song immediately stepped forward and explained to the old man. The old man nodded and looked at Yi Qingtang before saying, I already know about this matter. Miss Yi saved Jiuyo and is a guest of the Feng family. Now that you're here, it's fine for you to stay for a few days. Seeing the patriarch's attitude, it was naturally inappropriate for Feng Song to continue arguing. He could only nod and say, Patriarch, I understand. The Feng family patriarch looked at Yi Qingtang and said impassively, Miss Yi, the divine venerate domain is not like the mixed heavens holy domain. It is too dangerous. Moreover, the divine venerate domain's martial arts culture surpasses the mixed heavens holy domain. Even if you are considered an expert in the mixed heavens holy domain, it will be too dangerous for you in the divine venerate domain. Miss Yi, if you have seen enough, it's best not to stay in the divine venerate domain for too long. You should return to the mixed heavens holy domain as soon as possible. Feng Song and several young martial arts practitioners looked at each other and smiled. Martial arts practitioners in the divine venerate domain like them completely looked down upon the martial arts culture of the mixed heavens holy domain. After all, there was a huge gap between these two domains. How strong could a practitioner from the mixed heavens holy domain be? The patriarch ignored Yi Qingtang and said to Feng Jiuyo, Feng Wuyin and the rest, train hard and don't fool around. The patriarch turned and left. After the patriarch left, Feng Wuyin approached Yi Qingtang and tugged at the corner of her clothes. Sister Yiyu, I want to go out and play. Wuyin, be a good boy. Practice first. When we're stronger, we can go play with Sister Yiyu then, said Feng Jiuyo. Chapter 2595, Unparalleled 3, Feng Wuyin nodded. All right. Although the minds of Feng Jiuyo and Feng Wuyin were naive, their attacks were not light when they practiced their martial arts. Every single one of their moves contained the extremely powerful might of a divine lord. Yi Qingtang could not help but click her tongue. If she had such abilities when she was their age, wouldn't she be invincible now? It had to be said that the divine venerate domain's level of martial arts culture was indeed much higher than that of the mixed heavens holy domain. Of course, this was only based on quantity, not quality. For example, there were immortal emperors in both the divine venerate domain and the mixed heavens holy domain. The only difference was that the number of immortal emperors in the mixed heavens holy domain could not be compared to the divine venerate domain. The divine venerate domain also had many more divine lord level practitioners than the mixed heavens holy domain, but that did not mean that the divine lords of the latter were weaker. The martial art levels were the same. The only difference might be in the kind of skills one specialized in. Brother Jiuyo, your sword technique is much more powerful than before. Feng Wuyin praised. Sai, it's just though. I still can't do whatever I want. Feng Jiuyo seemed to be deep in thought. Yi Qingtang's lips curled up slightly when she heard Feng Jiuyo and Feng Wuyin's conversation. These two little fellows were rather interesting. For some reason, Yi Qingtang felt that Feng Wuyin's name was a little familiar, as if she had heard it somewhere before. However, she could not recall where. It seemed to have been recorded in history. Yi Qingtang sat at the side and watched as Feng Jiuyo and the rest focused on their cultivation. Meanwhile, she was deep in thought. She recalled the historical records she had read back then. In the historical records, there was a lot of information about Feng Jiuyo, but very few records about the Feng family. Feng Wuyin, Yi Qingtang muttered softly. Before long, Yi Qingtang's expression changed slightly. If Yi Qingtang did not remember wrongly, the historical record stated that Feng Jiuyo had a very good playmate who was skilled in the Nine Heavens raging aura. However, he was taken away by the heavenly demon tribe when he was very young and used as a blood sacrifice by them. However, Yi Qingtang did not know if that playmate of Feng Jiuyo was Feng Wuyin. Almost instinctively, Yi Qingtang looked at Feng Wuyin. Wuyin, do you know the Nine Heavens raging aura? Feng Jiuyo and Feng Wuyin stopped in their tracks. Before Feng Wuyin could say anything, Feng Jiuyo interrupted. Sister Yiyu, how did you know? Feng Wuyin didn't use the Nine Heavens raging aura just now. In our entire Feng family, only Feng Wuyin knows this technique. This is Wuyin's supreme martial arts ability. Oh. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. Feng Wuyin was the only person in the Feng family who knew the Nine Heavens raging aura? If that was the case, Feng Wuyin should be that playmate of Feng Jiuyo, who was captured and sacrificed by the heavenly demon tribe, right? Looking at Feng Wuyin, Yi Qingtang felt rather conflicted. This innocent and pure youth's tragic fate had long been destined by history. No one could change it, and no one dared to change it. When Yi Qingtang returned to her senses, She saw that Feng Wuyin was standing beside her and staring at her with his big, watery eyes. Sister Yiyu, are you homesick? Feng Wuyin asked. Chapter 2596. Unparalleled 4. Yi Qingtang looked at the jade pearl in Feng Wuyin's small palm. For some reason, she felt very conflicted as she looked at Feng Wuyin's innocent little face and asked, Wuyin, why are you so good to me? Feng Wuyin smiled shyly after hearing Yi Qingtang's words. Sister Yiyu, you saved Brother Jiuyo. Also, Sister Yiyu is so good-looking. Sister Yiyu, when I become stronger in the future, I'll look for you in the mixed heavens holy domain. Yi Qingtang was taken aback by Feng Wuyin's words. When you grow up, you want to look for me in the mixed heavens holy domain. Why? Feng Wuyin rubbed his hands and looked at Yi Qingtang. His face flushed slightly. Sister Yiyu is so good-looking. When I grow up, I want to go to the mixed heavens holy domain and take Sister Yiyu's finger in marriage. Yi Qingtang. Reaching out, Yi Qingtang accepted the jade pearl that Feng Wuyin was offering her. All right, I will accept it. The young Feng Jiuyo quickly walked up and stared at Feng Wuyin. He said with disdain, what a fool. It should be to take her hand in marriage, not her finger. Feng Wuyin tilted his head and pondered for a moment. He then nodded and said to Yi Qingtang again, yes, yes, yes. I'll grow up and become an expert. Then I'll go to the mixed heavens holy domain and take Sister Yiyu's finger. No, hand in marriage. Yi Qingtang could not help laughing when she saw Feng Wuyin's expression. Perhaps at this young age, Feng Wuyin didn't even know what marriage was. He probably didn't understand the meaning of marriage. He was just being pure and open about what he liked. This was probably what real innocence looked like. In her 2 lifetimes, Yi Qingtang had experienced countless schemes and plots. She did not know how long it had been since she met a young boy like Feng Wuyin. Fine, whatever. Look at how beautiful Sister Yiyu is. I wanted to marry her myself when I grow up. Forget it, I'll let you have her. Hurry up and cultivate to become stronger. If you're always so weak, who would want to marry you? Feng Jiuyo said seriously. Feng Wuyin immediately nodded. Sister Yiyu, wait for me to become stronger first. I can't protect you right now. I'm too weak and can only defeat Brother Jiuyo. I can't defeat anyone else. Yi Qingtang. Pfft. Feng Jiuyo was unconvinced. So what? I can become stronger too. You won't be able to defeat me in the future. Before Feng Jiuyo could say anything, Feng Wuyin's expression changed. Oh no. My parents told me to go to the market to buy things, but I forgot. With that, Feng Wuyin pulled Yi Qingtang's sleeve. Sister Yiyu, can you come with me? All right. Yi Qingtang agreed without hesitation. She had never been to the market before. I'll go too. Sigh, this won't do. My parents won't let me go out today. They said that I can't go anywhere until my sword skills ascend another level. Feng Jiuyo pursed his lips. Brother Jiuyo, stay at home then. We'll be back soon. Wait for our return. I'll bring you something nice to eat, Feng Wuyin said. With that, Yi Qingtang left the Feng family residence with Feng Wuyin. The market here was different from ordinary markets. There were all sorts of items being sold here. Furthermore, there were all sorts of people here as well. When they arrived at the market, Feng Wuyin widened his eyes and looked around. Before long, he returned to Yi Qingtang's side with 2 candied fruits. Sister Yiyu, this is for you. Yi Qingtang stared at the candied fruit in surprise. Sister Yiyu, this is very delicious. It can also increase your cultivation level, Feng Wuyin explained to Yi Qingtang. Increase my cultivation level. Yi Qingtang smiled and accepted Feng Wuyin's candied fruit without saying anything. The 2 of them walked forward. Along the way, Yi Qingtang realized that the market here was indeed extraordinary. Most of the people coming and going were at the Divine Lord level. Many stalls in the market were also opened by Divine Lord practitioners who sold all kinds of things, from unknown trinkets to rare herbs, and even magical and martial arts techniques. They could be seen everywhere. Sister Yiyu, this place is very lively. It's somewhere where some major family clans and powerful cultivators gather. Some years ago, someone even bought a premium heaven-grade divine weapon from this market. Feng Wuyin said to Yi Qingtang as he ate his candied fruit. Premium heaven-grade divine weapon. Yi Qingtang was amazed. As everyone knew, divine weapons were divided into 4 grades: heaven, earth, black, and yellow. Yellow-grade weapons were the most common, while heaven-grade weapons were called true divine weapons. Heaven-grade divine weapons were rare enough, not to mention premium ones. If an elite emperor-level practitioner obtained a premium heaven-grade divine weapon, his combat strength would be invincible amongst his peers. It might even be possible for him to challenge an immortal emperor. It was truly unbelievable that a heaven-grade divine weapon could appear in such a market. As an example, Yi Qingtang rarely used weapons now, as she just did not have any suitable weapons. Even superior earth-grade weapons were rare. Without a suitable weapon, it was better not to use them. After a while, Feng Wuyin walked to a stall and looked at Yi Qingtang with joy. Sister Yi, you look. This is the Dragon 9000 herb, a rare herb that can improve a paragon's skill. Yi Qingtang walked forward and examined it. She indeed could not recognize this herb. Many rare herbs in this era had been extinct for a long time by Yi Qingtang's era. There were not even any records of many extinct herbs in history. How could Yi Qingtang recognize them? TT can improve a paragon skill. Yi Qingtang was deep in thought. In her era, she had never heard of any rare medicinal herbs that could improve a paragon skill. This Dragon 9000 herb could improve a paragon skill, but she wondered if could improve an ultimate origin skill. After a round of haggling, Feng Wuyin finally managed to purchase the Dragon 9000 herb from the stall owner. Just as the two of them were about to leave, Yi Qingtang inadvertently glanced at an ordinary small wooden box on the stall. However, the moment Yi Qingtang looked at it, the heavenly demon pearl in her body had an inexplicable reaction and started to circulate rapidly in her body. Sensing the abnormality of the heavenly demon pearl, Yi Qingtang's expression shifted. She could not help looking more closely at the small wooden box. However, the more Yi Qingtang examined it, the faster the heavenly demon pearl circulated. This is strange. Yi Qingtang stared at the small wooden box as she sensed the abnormality of the heavenly demon pearl in her body. It was the first time Yi Qingtang experienced something like this. It had never happened before. Yi Qingtang crouched down and looked at the stall owner. The stall owner was a middle-aged man whose cultivation level was around the 4th heaven-level divine lord. From his appearance, he seemed to be an itinerant cultivator. "Miss, what are you interested in? Tell me." The middle-aged man smiled when he saw that Yi Qingtang was interested in the items in his stall. "That small wooden box is rather interesting. What is it?" Yi Qingtang pointed at the small wooden box in the stall. The middle-aged man was taken aback. "This?" The middle-aged man picked up the wooden box. "Yes." Yi Qingtang nodded slightly. It was this small wooden box that had some mysterious connection with the heavenly demon pearl in her body. Holding the wooden box, the middle-aged man sized up Yi Qingtang. In fact, the middle-aged man did not know what this wooden box was either. He advertently picked it up a few days ago at the periphery of a certain holy land popular with treasure hunters. The middle-aged man thought it was a treasure, but in the end, he discovered that other than being incomparably hard and indestructible, this small wooden box was completely useless. There were no energy fluctuations or any such thing. The only amazing thing was that it was so hard that it made one's hair stand on end. Even if the middle-aged man used the full strength of a divine lord, he was still unable to cause the slightest damage to this small wooden box. It was also because of this that the middle-aged man placed the small wooden box in the stall. During this period of time, many martial arts practitioners were curious and asked him about it. However, the middle-aged man did not know the origins of the small wooden box. He could not explain it, so no one was willing to buy it. At that moment, the middle-aged man saw that Yi Qingtang seemed to be interested in the small wooden box. His eyes darted around and he said seriously, "Little girl, you know your stuff. You can tell that my small wooden box is extraordinary." Yi Qingtang was stunned. When did she say that this small wooden box was extraordinary? She was just asking a casual question. Miss, to be honest, this item belongs to my great-great-great-great-grandfather. It has existed since a long time ago. It is said that it is my great-great-great-great-grandfather's Dharma treasure. Unfortunately, although this Dharma treasure has been passed down, the method to use it has been lost. The middle-aged man stared at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang could not help chuckling when she heard the middle-aged man's narration. This person's ability to lie through his teeth was indeed extraordinary. If this wooden box was really as the middle-aged man had said, would he have placed it in his stall? Uncle, someone asked you about this small wooden box earlier. Didn't you say that you didn't know? Why has it become your great-great-great-great-grandfather's treasure now? Feng Wuyin looked at the middle-aged man curiously. Yi Qingtang, the middle-aged man. Ahem, kid, I just didn't want to sell it to them and so lied to them. How could I not know the origin of my things? Miss, if you really want it, give me a price. I feel that you are somewhat fated with my late great-great-great-great-grandfather. Perhaps you will be able to activate this Dharma treasure? The middle-aged man stared at Yi Qingtang. Before Yi Qingtang could reply, the middle-aged man continued. Miss, do you want it? I can sell it to you at a cheaper price? Chapter 2599, Unparalleled 7, Let me consider it. Yi Qingtang smiled at the middle-aged man. Miss, listen to me. This is definitely a good item. Don't listen to this kid's nonsense. I didn't just randomly pick it up from the streets. The middle-aged man hurriedly urged. Seeing that Yi Qingtang did not speak, the middle-aged man threw the small wooden box on the ground. Looking at the intact wooden box, he said, How is it? I didn't lie to you, right? It's really a rare Dharma treasure. Miss, you are fated with it. You must have it. Will you give it to me for free then? Yi Qingtang asked the middle-aged man after a moment of silence. The middle-aged man was stunned by Yi Qingtang's words. He looked at Yi Qingtang in disbelief. I say, miss, you are young, beautiful, and wearing extraordinary clothes. How can you have the cheek to let a poor trader who lives on the edge of life and death give you something for free? Yi Qingtang smiled and said, I don't have money. The burning gaze in the middle-aged man's eyes dissipated instantly. If you don't have money, why are you talking so much to me then? Yi Qingtang was dumbstruck. Didn't she just ask a casual question? He was the one who kept blabbering on and on. Although I don't have money, I have goods. Do you want to exchange? Yi Qingtang smiled at the middle-aged man. Yi Qingtang was not lying. She indeed did not have money. Moreover, the currency of her era was completely different from that of this era. However, she had many other things besides money. Goods. The middle-aged man glanced at Yi Qingtang. What goods? Tell me. Elixirs. How about that? Yi Qingtang asked. As she spoke, Yi Qingtang took out an elixir from her space ring. Yi Qingtang had refined this elixir at the Wailing Well. It was more than enough for her to exchange for a lousy small box, even though this elixir was not considered very valuable. The middle-aged man and even Feng Juyu's eyes widened at the sight of Yi Qingtang's elixir. Yi Qingtang was rather puzzled by their expressions. Her elixir was very ordinary, especially to a Divine Lord-level practitioner. It should not be considered anything special. There was no need to look so surprised. This. Miss, can you let me take a look? The middle-aged man looked very eager. Take it. Yi Qingtang casually threw the elixir to the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man was quick to react. He grabbed the elixir with caution. After examining it for a long time, the middle-aged man could not help but look at Yi Qingtang in shock. It's actually a real elixir. Yi Qingtang was dumbstruck. Did he really have to say that? She was a powerful figure who was close to being a sub-emperor. Why would she need to fake such an ordinary elixir? Miss you are not a student of the Great Immortal Temple, right? The middle-aged man's body trembled slightly and his expression changed as he looked at Yi Qingtang. Great Immortal Temple? Yi Qingtang fell into deep thought. She seemed to have read about this in the historical records before. It sounded a little familiar, but she could not recall it at the moment. TM not. Yi Qingtang shook her head. Why are you so shocked? It's just an elixir. Just an elixir? The middle-aged man widened his eyes in disbelief. I say, young lady, you really know how to crack jokes. Do you know what a completed elixir is? This is the second time in my life that I've seen a completed elixir. Chapter 2600. Unparalleled 8. At the side, Feng Wuyin tugged Yi Qingtang's sleeve as he stared at her with his big watery eyes. Sister Yiyu. This is the first time I'm seeing a completed elixir too. Looking at the middle-aged man and Feng Wuyin, Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. She felt a little baffled. One had never seen a completed elixir before while the other had only seen one other in his entire life. Seriously? Wuyin, you have never seen an elixir before? Yi Qingtang blurted out. Feng Wuyin shook his head and said, Sister Yi, you know. Elixirs have only been recently invented by the Great Immortal Temple. Yi Qingtang was stunned. What Feng Wuyin meant was that in this era, elixirs had just been invented. Before this, no one understood the concept of elixirs. Yi Qingtang understood everything now. It was no wonder that Feng Jiuyo had taken such a huge risk to find herbs in the middle of the mountain instead of just getting elixirs. All of this was because in this era, elixirs had just been invented. And it was still using the most traditional pill refinement method. There was no so-called palm flame, and no such thing as a perfect grade elixir. Everything was still in the crude initial stages, the most inferior grades of elixirs. Yi Qingtang calmed herself down and looked at the middle-aged man. What do you think? Do you want to exchange? The middle-aged man nodded profusely and carefully scanned his surroundings. When he realized that no one was paying attention to his elixir, he carefully kept it as if it was his family heirloom. He looked at Yi Qingtang and said hurriedly, Exchange. Miss, I just said that you are definitely not an ordinary person. Although your completed elixir is extremely precious, my item is my great-great-great-great-grandfather's peerless Dharma treasure. You are definitely not at a disadvantage. Don't worry. Yi Qingtang did not waste any time talking. She took the small wooden box and threw it into her space ring. Let's go. After putting away the small wooden box, Yi Qingtang looked at Feng Wuyin and smiled. Okay. Feng Wuyin nodded and pulled Yi Qingtang's sleeve as they walked forward. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Meanwhile, somewhere in the market, two men in black robes never took their eyes off Feng Wuyin. That young man is very extraordinary, one of the black-robed men said. Indeed, he has a divine aura and is very suitable as an offering. He should be one of the youths from the Feng family. At that moment, Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered as she inadvertently scanned behind her. As for the two black-robed men, they had already disappeared. Sister Yiyu, what's wrong? Feng Wuyin asked Yi Qingtang when he saw that she had stopped moving. Yi Qingtang smiled at Feng Wuyin. It's nothing. Wuyin, have you finished buying what you need? Let's go home. Sister Yiyu, I've bought everything I need. Sister Yiyu, don't you want to shop a little longer? Feng Wuyin said. No, I'm a little tired today. Let's go back. Yi Qingtang smiled. All right. Feng Wuyin nodded and pulled Yi Qingtang toward the back. He went to buy 2 more sticks of candied fruit and handed one to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang felt increasingly conflicted after receiving the candied fruit. Was history going to repeat itself? But she was just a passerby of this era. Chapter 2601. Unparalleled 9. Although the two black-robed men concealed themselves, Yi Qingtang still sensed them. Yi Qingtang was certain that the two men were focused on Feng Wuyin. She had read in the historical records that the heavenly demon tribe kidnapped Juyu's best playmate as a blood sacrifice for the heavenly demons. The past had already happened and could not be changed. But now, Yi Qingtang had returned to this extremely distant era. She could watch history repeat itself and remain indifferent. Or she could also disrupt everything. But at the end of the day, she was just a passerby in this era. If she interfered, would there be some unintended chain reaction? If Yi Qingtang made a move and triggered a chain reaction, no one could guarantee if it would be good or bad. In fact, it was very likely that it would change the future eras. This was a concept that Yi Qingtang understood well. If she dared to commit such atrocities in such a distant era, the consequences would be unimaginable. Perhaps in the future era, those who should have existed would disappear, and those who should not have existed would reappear. Yi Qingtang looked at the innocent-looking Feng Wuyin and frowned slightly. She did not know what to do. Sister Yiyu, since you're tired, let's go home then. Feng Wuyin wiped the sweat on his forehead from the hot weather and smiled at Yi Qingtang. All right, let's go home. Yi Qingtang nodded slightly and smiled at Feng Wuyin. As she spoke, Yi Qingtang scanned a certain part of the market. The two black-robed men who had disappeared had just appeared again, and their focus was still on Feng Wuyin. Actually, Yi Qingtang could not understand why the heavenly demon tribe would target Feng Wuyin. There was nothing special about Feng Wuyin. Why would the tribe use Feng Wuyin as a blood sacrifice? Logically speaking, even if the heavenly demon tribe wanted to find someone to be their blood sacrifice, they should be looking for those people with a dense divine aura. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Yi Qingtang subconsciously glanced at Feng Wuyin. Could there really be something special about Feng Wuyin that made the heavenly demon tribe spy on him? Yi Qingtang immediately secretly circulated the power of the heavenly demon devouring bloodline. Before long, Yi Qingtang realized that there was indeed something unusual about Feng Wuyin. The divine aura in Feng Wuyin's body was extremely majestic and terrifying. It was impossible for ordinary people to detect it. Only those with the heavenly demon bloodline or others with extremely powerful divine aura could see through it. Not only did Yi Qingtang have the heavenly demon bloodline, but she also had the heavenly demon pearl. With those two, it was very easy to pry into Feng Wuyin's divine aura. In addition, Yi Qingtang also had a divine aura herself. After she broke through to the Yin-Yang perfected Lord 10th Heaven then, Yi Qingtang had already obtained a divine aura. However, Yi Qingtang's divine aura was rather weak and could not be compared to the divine aura in Feng Wuyin's body. Although Yi Qingtang did not know how Feng Wuyin got his divine aura, she was certain that the two black-robed men were eyeing the divine aura in Feng Wuyin's body. With Feng Wuyin's divine aura, he had indeed fulfilled the conditions for being a blood sacrifice. It was no wonder that the heavenly demon tribe would target Feng Wuyin. Chapter 2602. Unparalleled 10. After a while, Yi Qingtang walked forward while Feng Wuyin followed on her right. The two black-robed men behind didn't make any moves. All they did was continue to monitor Feng Wuyin from afar. If Yi Qingtang had guessed right, those two black-robed men should be from the heavenly demon tribe. Or at the very least, they must be somehow linked to the heavenly demon tribe. After about an hour, Yi Qingtang and Feng Wuyin returned to the Feng family estate. Sister Yiyu, why did you guys take so long? Seeing that Yi Qingtang and Feng Wuyin had returned, Feng Jiuyo immediately ran over. As it's my first time going to the market, so I asked Wuyin to take me around, so we're a little late, Yi Qingtang said softly to the young Feng Jiuyo. Indeed. There aren't such large markets in the mixed heavens holy domain, right? You probably won't be able to see any such markets when you read them to the mixed heavens holy domain. Feng Song suddenly appeared. He threw Yi Qingtang a glance before smiling coldly. Haha, brother Feng Song. Don't be so sarcastic. After all, she has never seen the martial arts culture of the divine venerate domain. It's only reasonable that she is curious about everything and wants to have a closer look, right? One of the other youths laughed. Heh, what's the saying? Humans strive for greater heights, while water flows to lower regions. It's indeed very normal for a cultivator from the mixed heavens holy domain to want to see the scenery of our divine venerate domain. Another youth piped up. Feng Song sneered at Yi Qingtang. That may be so, but there's another saying, know your place. With her skills, she is probably already nothing in the mixed heavens holy domain, but still dares to come to the divine venerate domain. With that weak, frail body of hers, she will be annihilated if she's not careful. Brother Feng Song, how can you say that about Sister Yiyu? She is amazing. Feng Wuyin clenched his fists. That's right. Sister Yiyu even saved me before. Brother Feng Song, you can't say that. Also, Don't look down on the mixed heavens holy domain's martial arts practitioners. We were just born in different places. There's no choice in that. Besides, I've never been to the mixed heavens holy domain or the blue sky domain either. I want to take a look too. I want to go to places I've never been to take a look. What's wrong with that? Feng Jiuyo was annoyed. Hearing that, Feng Song glanced at Feng Wuyin and Feng Jiuyo and said coldly, "How old are you guys? What do you know?" Seeing that Feng Wuyin and Feng Jiuyo still wanted to say something, Yi Qingtang shook her head and told them not to continue. After all, she was just an outsider in the Feng family. She did not want Feng Wuyin and Feng Jiuyo to quarrel with others because of her. Moreover, she was just a passerby in this distant era. Yi Qingtang would not care what the people in this era said about her. After all, people like Feng Song would probably be gone by the time she returned to her era. Yi Qingtang let Feng Wuyin and Feng Jiuyo cultivate outside while she returned to the guest room. She then took out the small wooden box from her space ring. The moment the wooden box appeared, the heavenly demon pearl in Yi Qingtang's body started to spin rapidly again, as if it had some unknown link with the small wooden box in her hand. However, after studying it for a long time, Yi Qingtang did not know what was so special about this small wooden box, nor did she know what it had to do with the heavenly demon pair in her body. If one had to say something about this wooden box, it could only be said that it was indeed very hard. The sturdiness of the small wooden box far exceeded Yi Qingtang's imagination. Even her own great Dao power could not damage the small wooden box at all. This thing. Yi Qingtang tilted her head and stared at the small wooden box on the table before muttering, "If I use it to create a weapon, the quality should not be inferior to a heaven-level divine weapon, right?" However, she then immediately discarded this thought. In all of history, no one had ever heard or seen a weapon forged from wood. Even if a divine weapon could be forged from this small wooden box, it probably wouldn't be fatal to your opponent. It would at most cause some serious injury. Moreover, one would have to disassemble the wooden box to use it to forge a weapon. However, this small wooden box was impervious to everything. Even Yi Qingtang's great Dao power could not do anything to it. It was probably just wishful thinking to take this small wooden box apart. Yi Qingtang felt a headache coming on as she stared at the small wooden box. This thing was heavy and useless, and occupied space in her space ring. However, Yi Qingtang thought about it carefully and felt that she did not lose out. Anyway, she used an ordinary elixir to exchange for it. Although elixirs had just been invented and were very rare in this era, to Yi Qingtang, they were just common everyday items. Also, it was just that Yi Qingtang had yet to figure out the use of this small wooden box. Even though it seemed useless now, there should be something special about it such that it resonated with the heavenly demon pair in her body. It was just that she had not discovered it yet. Picking up the small wooden box, Yi Qingtang shook it casually. Soon enough, she lost interest and stored the box back into her space ring. Yi Qingtang then sat cross-legged on the edge of the bed, wanting to break through to the sub-emperor stage in one go. However, Yi Qingtang had just entered into meditation when fighting sounds came from the outside. Opening her eyes again, Yi Qingtang was silent for a moment before standing up. She pushed open the door and walked towards the Feng family's training grounds. Outside the training grounds, several dozen powerful practitioners had surrounded the Feng family. Meanwhile, the entire Feng family had been mobilized. The Feng family's patriarch and others were also present. Feng Yun family. What is the meaning of this? The Feng family patriarch frowned at an elder in white. The white-robed elder swept his gaze across the crowd, and he stood with his hands behind his back and said indifferently, "Hand over Feng Wuyin and I can guarantee your Feng family's safety." Feng Wuyin, who was standing behind, trembled slightly. His little face was rather pale. He didn't know what he had done, nor did he know what trouble he had provoked. What's going on? Did Wuyin offend the Feng Yun family? If that's the case, I'll apologize on behalf of Wuyin. He's still young and doesn't know the ways of the world. Please don't blame him. The Feng family's patriarch frowned. However, the elder in white shook his head and said in a mild tone, "He didn't offend anyone. It's just that someone took a liking to Feng Wuyin. He satisfies the conditions for being a blood sacrifice to the heavenly demons. What? The Feng family patriarch was shocked. The Feng Yin family was planning to use Feng Wuyin as a blood sacrifice. Chapter 2604, Unparalleled 12. Feng Yin family, don't push us too far. The Feng family patriarch stared at the white-robed elder and gritted his teeth. Although your Feng Yin family is powerful, we will not let you slaughter us. We will never let you take Feng Wuyin as a blood sacrifice. At most, we'll fight you to the death. Fight to the death. The elder in white said impassively. I'm afraid that you can't stop us even if you all die fighting. Besides, I've already made it very clear that Feng Wuyin satisfies the criteria for being a blood sacrifice to the heavenly demons. Who do you think my Feng Yin family works for? Everyone's expressions changed. It was no secret that the heavenly demon tribe was one of the strongest factions in the Divine Venerate domain. In the Divine Venerate domain, they had the power to cover the sky with one hand and stir up storms. Furthermore, the heavenly demon tribe was distributed throughout the entire Divine Venerate domain. Apart from a few other factions who were just as powerful, who would dare to provoke the heavenly demon tribe? The Feng Yin family had always been working for a branch of the heavenly demon tribe, but even if it was just a branch, no one dared to provoke it. Its strength was too powerful, and was on a completely different level from small factions like them. Seeing the shocked expressions on the Feng family's faces, the white-clothed elder continued. Therefore, Feng family patriarch, you have to consider carefully. If you don't hand over the person, who are you making enemies with? Not only will you be exterminated, you won't be able to protect Feng Wuyin either. The Feng family looked at each other in dismay. They understood clearly what the white-robed elder meant. Going against the heavenly demon tribe was indeed no different from courting death. They would definitely suffer extermination. Even so, how could they hand just Feng Wuyin over? Dream on! Suddenly, the young Feng Jiuyo drew his sword and pointed it at the white-robed elder and his men. He roared furiously. You bunch of villains, even if I have to fight to the end, I won't let you take Wuyin away. TT looks like you will not see reason until the moment right before your own death. When the white-robed elder saw the Feng family's reaction, he immediately waved his sleeve. In the next second, the martial arts practitioners who had already surrounded the Feng family leapt forward. Defend! The Feng family patriarch shouted. The Feng Yin family was much stronger than the Feng family, especially that elder in white. He was already at the 8th heaven level divine lord. If the Feng family were to fight head-on, it would be impossible for them to win. Now the only thing they could do was defend. However, even if they just purely defended themselves, it was still extremely strenuous for the Feng family to face the Feng Yin family. Defense alone was still very difficult. In just a few breaths' time, the Feng family members were all sent flying across the air by the Feng Yin fighters. Even Feng Jiuyo suffered some light injuries. Brother Jiuyo, are you okay? Feng Wuyin hurriedly stepped forward and helped Feng Jiuyo up from the ground. Wuyin, don't worry. We won't let you be taken away as a blood sacrifice. Feng Jiuyo stood up and looked at Feng Wuyin. Brother Jiuyo, you're injured. Father! Before Feng Wuyin could say anything, Feng Jiuyo shouted loudly with a shocked expression. Father Feng was knocked to the ground by an expert from the Feng Yin family. A sharp sword slashed mercilessly at Father Feng's neck. However, at this moment, a sigh came from nowhere. We should show mercy whenever we can. It was just a sigh, but the soul of the Feng Yin fighter who was holding a long sword against Father Feng's neck trembled at it. The Feng Yin fighter with the long sword frowned and looked around, but he did not see anyone. After glancing around, the Feng Yin fighter realized that everyone else was behaving normally. Could he have been hallucinating just now? The Feng Yin fighter immediately gathered his wits. With a sharp glint in his eye, he slashed his sword at Father Feng again. At this moment, a snow-white figure flashed over. Before anyone noticed anything, they heard a clear clang. When everyone returned to their senses, They realized that Yi Qingtang was standing in front of Father Feng with a calm expression. She did not move but was blocking the sharp sword of the powerful Feng Yin fighter with 2 fingers. Sister Yiyu. Feng Yuan's expression changed when he saw Yi Qingtang. Sister Yiyu, you're not a match for them. Feng Jiuyo also shouted. Although Feng Wuyin and Feng Jiuyo were young, they were still at the Divine Lord stage after all. Yi Qingtang came from the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain, and was clearly lagging behind compared to them. How could cultivators from the second domain fight with practitioners from the Divine Venerate domain? Furthermore, this was the Feng Yin family, backed by the colossal power of a branch of the heavenly demon tribe. Who are you? The Feng Yin fighter shouted sternly as his gaze landed on Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang was expressionless as she said indifferently, "Didn't you hear the 2 little fellows calling me Yiyu just now? You're not from the Feng family?" The eyes of that Feng Yin fighter flickered coldly. This person was really audacious. To think that she dared to interfere in the Feng Yin family's business? You are from the Feng Yin family? Yi Qingtang fell into deep thought. She had never heard of them. Everyone on my account, please let the Feng family off today, okay? Yi Qingtang said after a moment of silence. Yi Qingtang had not wanted to interfere in this matter. After all, everything that was happening now was already set in history. If she did anything, it would very likely change history, and something irreversible might happen. There was no way for her to be certain. Perhaps, there would be earth-shaking changes to her era. It was even possible that she might not be born due to these changes in history. However, Yi Qingtang could not bear to see Feng Wuyin being taken away as a blood sacrifice in front of her eyes. On your account? The white-robed elder from the Feng Yin family smiled as he sized up Yi Qingtang. Who are you to ask this of us? Yiyu, this matter has nothing to do with you. You're just a traveling martial arts practitioner from the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain. You are being too audacious. Hurry up and apologize to the Feng Yin family. Feng Song shouted angrily. The Feng Yin family only wanted Feng Wuyin, and would not exterminate the rest of the Feng family. However, this woman was extremely audacious and dared to interfere. Who knew if she would anger the Feng Yin family, or even the heavenly demon tribe branch power? Mixed Heavens Holy Domain. You are saying that this woman is from Mixed Heavens Holy Domain? The Feng Yin family practitioners roared with laughter. It had truly been an interesting day. A mere martial arts practitioner from the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain came to the Divine Venerate domain, and expected them to listen to her. Sister Yi, you leave quickly. Feng Wuyin came to Yi Qingtang's side and pulled her sleeve with his small hand, staring at her. Yi Qingtang looked at Feng Wuyin and asked, Wuyin, they want to capture you to be a blood sacrifice. Aren't you afraid? Of course I'm afraid. Feng Wuyin did look a little scared, but he said resolutely, but I can't implicate everyone, and I definitely can't implicate Sister Yiyu. I'll go and explain things to them. Everything will be fine. Yi Qingtang opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something but remained silent in the end. A cultivator from the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain. Ha! How many cultivators from the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain have come to the Divine Venerate domain only to end up with their tails between their legs? Yet you have the guts to ask us to listen to you. Why? Don't tell me you have a noble bloodline? One of the powerful fighters from the Feng Yin family sneered at Yi Qingtang. In this person's opinion, the vast majority of the martial arts practitioners in the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain were just a joke. Kill her. No need to waste words. The white-robed elder from the Feng Yin family commanded in a frosty tone. However, before the Feng Yin family fighters could make a move, Feng Wuyin hurriedly said, wait a moment. Don't hurt Sister Yiyu or the rest of the Feng family. I'll leave with you, okay? Feng Wuyin grabbed Yi Qingtang's sleeve tightly and wiped the sweat off his forehead. There are many people in your Feng family, but not a single one of them is sensible. The white-robed elder from the Feng Yin family snorted. All right, I can let bygones be bygones. However, this person from the Mixed Heavens Holy Domain is so arrogant after coming to the Divine Venerate domain. She must be severely punished. We can spare her life, but we will break her hands. Don't break Sister Yi Yu's hands. Feng Huiyan's face was filled with anxiety. Yi Qingtang smiled at Feng Huiyan and said, Huiyan, you gave me a jade pearl previously. I've decided to give you a gift in return. Yi Yu, you're an outsider. This has nothing to do with you. If you don't want to die, shut up immediately. You're just a cultivator from the Mixed Heavens holy domain. Why don't you take a look at your own status? Who are you to interfere in our matters? Feng Song pointed at Yi Qingtang and shouted. The Feng family patriarch glanced at Yi Qingtang. Although Feng Song had his own selfish motives, what he said was not wrong. Yi Qingtang came from the Mixed Heavens holy domain. Even their Feng family could not fight off the Feng Yin family. Wasn't Yi Qingtang just courting death? Miss Yi, leave quickly. You are a guest of the Feng family. We don't want anything to happen to you. Our Feng family will do our best to settle this matter. The Feng family patriarch said to Yi Qingtang. Dream on. The white-robed elder snorted. You can leave, but we must break her arms first. The powerful Feng Yin family fighter, whose sword had been intercepted by Yi Qingtang's 2 fingers, shouted angrily. He tried to withdraw his sword, but after expending nearly all his strength, the sword remained between Yi Qingtang's fingers and did not move at all. Yi Qingtang stared at the Feng Yin family fighter impassively. She had not wanted to attack. Crash. There was a loud crash. No one saw what happened exactly. All they saw was that Feng Yin family fighter being sent flying through the air like a piece of paper. You dare to resist? The Feng Yin family fighter was taken aback. To think that a woman from the Mixed Heavens holy domain actually dared to attack a Feng Yin family fighter. Well, just wanted to teach you a lesson. But now, since you like the Divine Venerate domain so much, you can stay here forever. Kill her, the white-robed elder from the Feng Yin family ordered. Apart from a portion of the Feng Yin fighters who were guarding the Feng family, the rest of them instantly attacked Yi Qingtang. You think too highly of yourself. Yi Qingtang snorted at what was happening. With that one snort, the faces of the dozen over-cultivators from the Feng Yin family turned pale, as they spat out mouthfuls of blood. Everyone, including the Feng family, was stunned. What kind of power was this? Just one snort was enough to make the Feng Yin family fighters vomit blood and lose their combat strength. Yi Qingtang ignored the Feng Yin family fighters and instead looked at the elder in white. She said calmly, You can come at me all together. It seems I have underestimated you. The white-robed elder's eyes flickered coldly. Although this woman came from the Mixed Heavens holy domain, her martial skills were not weak. She was probably considered one of the strongest in the Mixed Heavens holy domain. Little girl, this is the Divine Venerate domain. Do you think the Mixed Heavens holy domain is comparable? The elder in white roared. He raised his right arm and swung it towards Yi Qingtang. An indescribably terrifying aura erupted from the white-robed elder's body. The aura of an 8-heaven-level divine lord flared out, as if he was an invincible war god. Just looking at him with the naked eye made everyone from the Feng family extremely frightened. In the next second, a golden palm imprint over 100 feet long appeared in the sky. It covered the entire Feng family, and harbored an extremely powerful destructive force. This is bad. The Feng family patriarch was shocked at the sight. This was the ultimate killing move of that white-robed elder. Its power was extremely strong and no ordinary people would be able to resist. They would be annihilated. Yi Qingtang stood rooted to the ground with her hands behind her back. Her long black hair flowed in the wind. There was no emotion in her eyes. Just as the golden palm was about to land, everyone saw Yi Qingtang raise her right arm. Before anyone knew what happened, the golden palm suddenly turned into golden bubbles and disappeared with the wind. What? The white-robed elder found it unbelievable. His 8th heaven-level Divine Lord ultimate move was so easily broken by that woman from the Mixed Heavens holy domain. Kill her. The elder in white roared, and a divine weapon condensed from Divine Lord power appeared in his hand. He slashed at Yi Qingtang. Are you still not giving up? Yi Qingtang stood rooted to the ground and glanced at the elder in white indifferently. When the white-robed elder was only a few inches away from Yi Qingtang, He brought down the divine weapon heavily on Yi Qingtang. However, Yi Qingtang did not have any intention of dodging. With a wave of her arm, the divine weapon shattered into pieces. Before the elder could react, Yi Qingtang pointed at his left abdomen. With a loud boom, the elder spat out a large mouthful of blood and staggered back several steps. He flew back straight into the group of Feng Yun family members, knocking several fighters, who had wanted to support the elder, to the ground. Chapter 2608. First Battle Emperor Level 1. A cold glint surfaced in Yi Qingtang's eyes as she looked at the elder in white from the Feng Yun family. Initially, Yi Qingtang did not want to provoke these people. However, since the elder had executed a killer move, Yi Qingtang had no choice but to counterattack. At that moment, everyone from the Feng family looked at Yi Qingtang with disbelief and shock in their eyes. This woman who came to the divine venerate domain from the mixed heavens holy domain was actually so powerful? It was inconceivable that the many dozens of Feng Yun family fighters and an elder were completely helpless against her. Could it be that her cultivation level has already entered the peak 8th heaven level divine lord? The Feng family patriarch sized up Yi Qingtang in surprise. Peak 8th heaven level divine lord? Everyone else in the Feng family was dumbstruck, especially Feng Song and the other youths. They were shocked and in disbelief. Although there were true experts in the mixed heavens holy domain, there were very few of them. Furthermore, those well-known experts rarely took the risk to come to the divine venerate domain. They usually hid in the mixed heavens holy domain to lord over the others in that domain. Sister Yi Yu, you're amazing. Feng Wuyin looked at Yi Qingtang in admiration. Heavens, Sister Yi Yu is so powerful. I thought that Sister Yi Yu's strength was about the same as mine. But she's much stronger than me. Feng Jiuyo was flabbergasted. Thank you for your help, Miss Yi. Father Feng stood up and cupped his fists at Yi Qingtang, his face filled with gratitude. If not for Yi Qingtang, he would probably be dead. Father Feng and Mother Feng did not expect Yi Qingtang to be so powerful. Even though she came from the mixed heavens holy domain, she was not afraid of the people from the Feng Yun family. She even managed to completely defeat those powerful fighters from the Feng Yun family. You, little girl, you dare to go against the Feng Yun family. The elder in white stood up and glared at Yi Qingtang furiously. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. The Feng Yun family had never suffered such a huge loss in this region before. No faction dared to provoke them. Yi Qingtang glanced at the white-robed elder from the Feng Yun family indifferently and said coldly, "So what if we are enemies?" Yi Qingtang had previously hesitated over whether to interfere in this era. However, after saving Father Feng's life from the Feng Yun family fighter, she no longer bothered about that anymore. Although there was no record of Father Feng in history, Yi Qingtang was not stupid. If she did not intervene just now, Father Feng would have died under the sword of that Feng Yun family fighter. Since she had already saved him, she had now changed the course of history. What was done was already done. What else was there to be afraid of? As for what would happen in the future, that would be a matter for the future. Moreover, even if history was changed, it might not necessarily be in a bad way. Little girl, you will regret it. You and the entire Feng family will pay an extremely tragic price for your ignorance and arrogance. The elder in white stared at Yi Qingtang as he hollered. The expressions of the Feng family members changed slightly. Indeed, even though Yi Qingtang's martial art skills were extremely powerful, the consequences would be dire if the Feng Yun family patriarch stepped forward. The patriarch of the Feng Yun family was a true emperor-level practitioner, who had ascended to the emperor level many years ago. If it was just the elder in white from the Feng Yun family, Yi Qingtang's skills were sufficient. However, if the Feng Yun family patriarch stepped forward, "Miss Yi, leave quickly, it's not too late to leave now," Mother Feng suddenly said to Yi Qingtang. The Feng family patriarch also said, "Miss Yi, if possible, I would like to request you to bring Jiuyo, Wuyin and the rest along. The Feng Yun family is not one that Miss Yi can handle. Moreover, they are backed by a branch of the heavenly demon tribe." Even though the Feng family was doomed, they had to protect their juniors. They could not be destroyed together with the Feng family. As long as these juniors were alive, the Feng family still had hope for the future. If it wasn't for her, Feng Tsang glanced at Yi Qingtang. If not for Yi Qingtang stepping out and completely infuriating the Feng Yin family, their Feng family would not have been annihilated as long as they handed Feng Wuyin over. But with Yi Qingtang's attack, it was too late. Yi Qingtang looked at Mother Feng, the Feng family patriarch, and the rest and said calmly, "I think everyone misunderstood." Misunderstood? A bewildered expression appeared on the Feng family patriarch's face. He did not understand the meaning behind Yi Qingtang's words. "Miss Yi, what do you mean?" Mother Feng was also puzzled and asked Yi Qingtang directly. "It is now a private matter between me and the Feng Yin family. It has nothing to do with the Feng family." Yi Qingtang said quickly, "It's fine if the Feng Yin family didn't want to listen to me. But they went on to insult me and even wanted to take my life. Therefore, this is a private matter between me and the Feng Yin family, and has nothing to do with others." Before Mother Feng could say anything, the elder in white from the Feng Yin family sneered. "Little girl, how arrogant of you. If my Feng Yin family wants to take your head, do you think you can escape?" Yi Qingtang's expression was cold as she glanced at the old man. "There were once many people who wanted to take my life. However, they all died before me. One example is you." As soon as Yi Qingtang finished speaking, she disappeared from where she was and appeared right beside the white-robed elder. Qingtang pointed her finger, and a streak of black flames appeared on her fingertip. In the next second, the elder screamed in misery. Under everyone's shocked gazes, the white-robed elder's body was engulfed by the black flames. In just a few breaths, he was burned to ashes by the black flames and dissipated with the wind. The other Feng Yin family fighters looked at Yi Qingtang and gasped to think that an elder of their Feng Yin family was killed by this woman, without even any chance to fight back. Yi Qingtang looked at the white-robed elder who had turned to dust. There was not the slightest ripple in her eyes. Since she had already changed history, she no longer cared. So what if she changed more of it? Just as everyone fell silent, an extraordinary aura appeared in the distance. In the blink of an eye, a mighty emperor-level mighty force suppressed the entire area. Suppressed by this mighty force, the faces of everyone present turned pale. Even breathing had become very difficult. Chapter 26:10. First Battle Emperor Level 3. Yi Qingtang slowly looked up and sized up the sky. An old man whose entire body was suffused with a green luster stood quietly in the sky like a god, looking down at the world below. The Feng Yin family patriarch. Emperor level. Tvi never seen the Feng Yin family patriarch before. Is that old man really the Feng Yin family patriarch? A young man from the Feng family asked with a trembling voice. Is indeed the Feng Yin family patriarch. It looks like even if Miss Yi wants to leave, she probably won't be able to. The Feng family patriarch looked up into the sky and sighed. Seeing the white-haired elder in the air, Feng Tsang and the other youths from the Feng family trembled violently. The Feng Yin family patriarch had not appeared in the outside world for decades. He remained in seclusion all year round. Apart from the Feng family patriarch who had met him before, this was the first time the rest of the Feng family was seeing the patriarch. Members of the Feng family, how dare you kill an elder of the Feng Yin family? The emperor-level powerhouse, who was emitting a green luster, spoke softly from the sky. Although there was no expression on his face, the might of his voice was terrifying. The divine lord and emperor levels were like the sun and moon, heaven and earth. They were completely incomparable. Only those who had truly stepped onto the emperor level could be considered true experts. They had the ability to comprehend the stars in the universe, to develop their own deity ocean, and even to comprehend the power of their own domain. Emperor level, no, it's not us, it's her. Iang Man pointed at Yi Qingtang with a trembling finger. Yi Qingtang was the one who killed that elder in white from the Feng Yin family. It had nothing to do with them. Great sir, this has nothing to do with the Feng family. It's a personal grudge between her and your Feng Yin family. Feng Song's entire body was already soaked in cold sweat. If an emperor-level practitioner wanted to, he could destroy the entire Feng family with the flick of a single finger. It's you. The white-haired elder's gaze landed on Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang's lips curled up slightly. She stared at the old emperor-level elder in the air without any fear in her eyes. It was indeed me. One of your Fengyan family members wanted to kill me. Unfortunately, his skills were inferior to mine, and so I killed him. Oh, his skills were inferior to yours? The Fengyan family patriarch seemed to be deep in thought. So you killed an elder of my Fengyan family? Yi Qingtang said. Why? Do you want to avenge him? However, to everyone's surprise, the Fengyan family patriarch shook his head and smiled. Miss, there's no problem with what you said. A Fengyan family elder wanted to kill you, but his strength is inferior to yours. It's reasonable for him to be killed by you. What do you plan to do then? Yi Qingtang asked. The elder continued to smile. I didn't want to do anything. However, the person you killed was still an elder of my Fengyan family. In my opinion, your life is not worth the life of an elder of the Fengyan family. In that case, I will have to kill off the entire Feng family together with you. The faces of Feng Song and the others turned ashen. An emperor-level practitioner was no joke. You want to take my life? As Yi Qingtang stood below, the smile on her face faded. Do you have the capability? 1. Chapter 26:11. First Battle Emperor Level 4. After hearing Yi Qingtang's words, everyone, even the Feng family members, all held strange expressions on their faces. Father Feng and Mother Feng looked at Yi Qingtang in confusion. The Feng family patriarch frowned deeply and said to Yi Qingtang, Miss Yi, if you can stall him for a while, the Feng family will work together to take out the forbidden formation. However, before the Feng family patriarch could finish speaking, Yi Qingtang shook her head and said, Patriarch, I said earlier that this is a private matter between myself and the Fengyan family. It has nothing to do with the Feng family. Moreover, there's no need for the Feng family to interfere. I alone am enough. You alone are enough? The Feng family stared at Yi Qingtang in disbelief. Did she know how powerful an emperor-level practitioner was? It was truly a divine power that could turn the world upside down. Only those who had reached the emperor level would be able to reach their fullest potential. Ha ha. In the air, the Fengyan family patriarch smiled and stroked his long, snow-white beard. As he looked at Yi Qingtang playfully, he said, You are really quite confident. In that case, don't blame me for bullying the weak. As he spoke, the Fengyan family patriarch raised his hand slightly. In that instant, a powerful and invincible emperor-level force morphed into a tall mountain and pressed towards Yi Qingtang. If it were anyone else, they would have been instantly shattered by the aura of this emperor-level force. But Yi Qingtang remained rooted to the ground without any response. Oh, seeing that his aura could not hurt Yi Qingtang, the elder in the sky finally became interested. A smile was on his face as he said, It seems that I have underestimated you. No wonder you dared to attack an elder of the Fengyan family, and even killed him. You are still so young. It is indeed true that the younger generation will surpass us in time. If you repent now, I will spare your life. Yi Qingtang stood rooted to the ground with her hands behind her back. She looked up at the old man in the air. The Fengyan family patriarch was slightly taken aback by Yi Qingtang's words. Repent? Everyone burst into laughter. In fact, the Fengyan family fighters were clutching their stomachs in mirth. This woman's martial art strength was indeed extraordinary. The fact that she was able to kill an elder of the Fengyan family was enough to prove that. Even so, she was currently facing a true emperor level. Yet she dared to say such words. Had she gone mad or was she too arrogant? Did she not know how terrifying emperor-level practitioners were? A junior should be humble when speaking to an emperor level. In the sky, a murderous intent finally surfaced in the eyes of the Fengyan family patriarch. In the next second, the elder waved his arm, and the ground under Yi Qingtang's feet immediately trembled violently, as if a natural disaster had arrived. At that moment, Yi Qingtang was still unmoved. Everyone saw Yi Qingtang's right leg tap the ground lightly, and a muffled sound rang out. The shaking ground started to stabilize and finally stabilized. Divine powers? Seeing this, the Feng family patriarch's pupils constricted. This woman was actually able to fight against an emperor-level practitioner. Even a 9th heaven-level divine lord might not be able to accomplish this so easily. Key. The elder gave a cold shout. The word kill turned into a blood-colored fog that swept across the earth and spread towards Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang looked up at the Feng Yin family patriarch. This emperor-level power was indeed extraordinary. If it were before, Yi Qingtang would have no way of resisting such a power. However, the current Yi Qingtang was no longer the same as before. She was fearless even when facing such a powerful emperor-level practitioner from the Feng Yin family. Child's play. As Yi Qingtang faced the bloody mist swirling around, her lips curled into a cold smile, and she waved her hand. With everyone watching in disbelief, Yi Qingtang caught the blood-colored fog that was originally suppressing her. How is this possible? The Feng family looked at each other in disbelief and shock. Yi Qingtang subdued the attack of an emperor-level practitioner of the Feng Yun family with one move. The smiles on the faces of the Feng Yun family members gradually froze. In their opinion, the Feng Yun family patriarch was nearly invincible. However, he was unable to instantly kill that woman from the mixed heavens holy domain. Instead, he seemed to be at a disadvantage. You can have it back. With that, Yi Qingtang raised her arm and threw the blood-colored fog back at the patriarch. Humph! The Feng Yun family patriarch let out a cold snort, and the blood-colored fog immediately dissipated. Little girl, I really underestimated you. The Feng Yun family patriarch's expression turned grave. Initially, he did not take Yi Qingtang seriously. However, the martial arts skills that Yi Qingtang displayed were indeed not to be underestimated. Nevertheless, the Feng Yin family patriarch still did not treat Yi Qingtang as an opponent of the same level. Come down. You don't have the right to make me look up to you. Yi Qingtang's gaze landed on the Feng Yin family patriarch, who was floating in the air. The patriarch was slightly taken aback before a cold smile appeared on his face. Little girl, you really have some ability. Can you fight against an emperor level? You are full of nonsense. Yi Qingtang frowned. Under everyone's gazes, Yi Qingtang raised her right arm and grabbed at the air. No one knew exactly what happened. However, the body of the Feng Yin family patriarch trembled, and he staggered. Yi Qingtang grabbed him down from the air. Under everyone's shocked gazes, the Feng Yin family patriarch's face turned pale. His feet remained inches off the ground, and his body seemed to be controlled by some unknown force as he slowly moved towards Yi Qingtang. What's going on? The people from the Feng family were dumbstruck. The mighty emperor-level practitioner of the Feng Yun family seemed to have become a weak and ordinary person in Yi Qingtang's hands. Just how much unfathomable energy did this woman from the mixed heavens holy domain contain in her body? At that instant, the Feng Yun family patriarch's expression changed drastically. He struggled crazily and astonishing energy erupted from his body, wanting to escape Yi Qingtang's unparalleled restraint. However, no matter how much he struggled, he was unable to resist this indescribable force. How is this possible? At this moment, the Feng Yun family patriarch was filled with fear as he looked at the calm Yi Qingtang in front of him. The confident and amused look on his face had long disappeared. All that was left in his eyes now was fear. Chapter 26:13 Heavenly Emperor and Han Sungming. 2. Ever since the Feng Yun family patriarch became an emperor-level practitioner, everything had been smooth sailing for him. He had gone into seclusion all year round in order to shake off his earthly shackles and make further breakthroughs. In this world, he represented absolute invincibility. No one had ever dared to challenge the authority of the Feng Yun family. Those who had dared in the past had already been killed by him. However, today the Feng Yun family patriarch felt a rare sense of pressure when facing this woman. After a few breaths, Yi Qingtang grabbed the neck of the Fengyun family patriarch and lifted him like a newborn chick. All the while she stared at him with no expression on her face. A cold glint surfaced in her eyes. "Who are you?" The Fengyun family patriarch stared at Yi Qingtang with a frown. This woman before him was definitely not a nobody. "You are already about to die. Why are you still asking so many questions?" Yi Qingtang asked calmly. The Fengyun family patriarch sneered and said to Yi Qingtang, "Little girl, do you know what kind of power is behind our Fengyun family? What do you dare to do? Branch of the heavenly demon tribe, so what?" Yi Qingtang replied without hesitation. Since she had already offended them, Yi Qingtang was not afraid. Even if she let the Fengyun family patriarch off now, the heavenly demon tribe branch would never let Feng Wuyin off. It was unrealistic to expect them to let her off as well. All that was left was for her to deal with whatever came her way. Yi Qingtang had nothing to fear now. Before that, I'll let you in on a small secret. Yi Qingtang stared at the Fengyun family patriarch. Her lips curled up slightly. An inexplicable expression appeared in her eyes. In the next second, under the Fengyun family patriarch's incredulous gaze, Yi Qingtang's body was engulfed by pitch-black flames. An astonishing force instantly enveloped him. The Fengyun family patriarch felt the great power in his body flowing away at a crazy rate. It was as if he had been sucked into a huge and greedy black hole, and could not break free. Sensing the strange power emanating from Yi Qingtang's body, the Fengyun family patriarch was shocked. "Heaven, pure power of the heavenly demon. How is it possible? You are from the heavenly demon tribe. Wait, could it be the heavenly demon devouring blood?" However, before the Fengyun family patriarch could finish his sentence, he had already turned into dust. With a gentle breeze, he dissipated into the wind. There was no struggle or resistance. It happened within a period that was so short it was unfathomable. Everyone at present was dumbstruck and in disbelief. The emperor-level powerhouse from the Fengyun family was reduced to nothingness in Yi Qingtang's hands. "Sister Yi, you is amazing." Feng Wuyin widened his glittery eyes, which were filled with admiration. "So powerful. Even an emperor-level practitioner was defeated by Sister Yi. How is it that she could be so powerful? Didn't they say that the martial arts practitioner from the mixed heavens holy domain are inferior to us?" Feng Juyo was dumbfounded. Feng Tsang and the other Feng family youths looked at each other in dismay. Especially Feng Tsang, whose body trembled slightly and his face turned pale. An existence that could instantly kill an emperor-level expert. Would his earlier actions have angered this terrifying woman? At the thought of this, fear surged from the depths of his heart. Yi Qingtang could kill him with a single thought. The Feng family patriarch, Father Feng, Mother Feng and the rest stood rooted to the ground. Their eyes were fixed on Yi Qingtang and for a moment, they did not know what to say. Meanwhile, the other Fengyun family members were as silent as cicadas in the winter. They did not even dare to breathe loudly for fear that Yi Qingtang would kill them all. After a while, Yi Qingtang's gaze landed on the Fengyun family members. With a sneer, she said indifferently, "Get lost before I change my mind." After hearing Yi Qingtang's words, the Fengyun family members heaved a sigh of relief, as if they had just survived a great calamity. They thanked Yi Qingtang profusely and fled from this place, afraid that she would change her mind. Not bad. Yi Qingtang was deep in thought as she sensed the energy absorbed from the Fengyun family patriarch. TT was a pity that she could not convert this energy immediately into her own power. Instead, the heavenly demon devouring bloodline's autonomy had increased. Actually, this was already a rare feat for Yi Qingtang. "Sister Yi, you're too awesome." Feng Juyo ran to Yi Qingtang excitedly. Yi Qingtang smiled and said to the young Feng Juyo, "Believe me, in the future, you will be so powerful that the world will be shocked. You are destined to become a powerful figure whom everyone will worship." Feng Juyo was surprised by Yi Qingtang's words, and his face turned red. "Sister Yi, you are exaggerating, but I will definitely become a powerful figure." No matter how thick-skinned Feng Jiuyo was, he could not accept Yi Qingtang's claim that he would become a powerful figure whom everyone would worship. However, Sister Yiyu, if what you said is true, did you discover some power that has not been developed in my body? Or an extremely powerful and rare super bloodline? Feng Jiuyo asked excitedly after thinking for a moment. Currently, Yi Qingtang's status in Feng Jiyu's heart had already shot to its peak. Yi Qingtang could easily kill an emperor-level figure. In that case, whatever Yi Qingtang said must be true. Yi Qingtang was dumbstruck. She did not know what extraordinary bloodline and power Feng Jiuyo had. Whatever she knew, she only knew it because she had come from the future. Of course, Yi Qingtang would not reveal that. But she didn't want to dampen Feng Jiuyo's enthusiasm. So she only smiled and said, Jiuyo, your belief is your sharpest weapon. One day, you will reach the peak. Yes, yes, yes. Feng Jiuyo nodded repeatedly and said, Sister Yiyu, I won't disappoint you. I will definitely reach the top. I will become a super big shot. Don't worry, you can do it. Yi Qingtang smiled. Sister Yiyu, what about me? Feng Wuyin suddenly ran up and tugged at the corner of Yi Qingtang's clothes. Yi Qingtang tilted her head and looked at Feng Wuyin. She really did not know. Don't worry, Wuyin. You're already stronger than me now, so you'll definitely be even stronger in the future. In the future, we'll all become famous experts. Feng Jiuyo smiled. Is that so, Sister Yiyu? Feng Wuyin seemed to want to hear Yi Qingtang's confirmation. Yes, definitely. Yi Qingtang nodded. It should be. Although Yi Qingtang had read the historical records, Feng Wuyin had been a blood sacrifice when he was young. He had no future. Even though Yi Qingtang had changed history, she could not predict what would happen to Feng Wuyin in the future. Chapter 26:15 Heavenly Emperor and Han Songming 4. Yi Qingtang knew that she might be able to change history, but only for that point in time. Whatever happened next would not be within her control. Even if Feng Wuyin's previous fate did not happen because of Yi Qingtang, who knew what would happen in the future? Perhaps nothing else would happen to him, or perhaps he would encounter an even greater calamity in the future. All of this no longer had anything to do with Yi Qingtang, and was not something she could decide. As Yi Qingtang stared at Feng Wuyin, she inwardly wished him a safe life. Miss Yi, the Feng family patriarch, came to Yi Qingtang's side. Patriarch, please speak freely, Yi Qingtang said. Miss Yi, I did not know about Miss Yi's prowess previously. Perhaps some of the Feng family's younger generation may have offended you. I hope that Miss Yi will not take issue with them. At that moment, the Feng family's patriarch gazed respectfully at Yi Qingtang. This woman in front of him had casually killed an emperor-level powerhouse from the Feng Yin family. It had been a massive shock. In response, Yi Qingtang only smiled faintly. What do you mean, patriarch? Of course I would not. Yi Qingtang did not even know who the Feng family patriarch was referring to. She was not interested in knowing either. Thank you, Miss Yi. There's one thing. Miss Yi, as you killed the Feng Yin family patriarch, it's equivalent to destroying the Heavenly Demon Tribe branch. I'm afraid that the Feng family's patriarch hesitated to speak. Without needing the Feng family patriarch to say anything, Yi Qingtang knew what he meant. There were probably 2 points. On the surface, the Feng family patriarch meant that she had killed the Feng Yin family patriarch, so the Heavenly Demon Tribe branch would definitely not let this go. They probably would not let her off. Another point was that the Heavenly Demon Tribe branch would still target Feng Wuyin, and probably also not let the Feng family off. Patriarch, you can rest assured. Yi Qingtang said to the Feng family patriarch, you don't have to worry about my safety. Also, if the Heavenly Demon Tribe branch attacks the Feng family, I will not stand by and watch. However, with my skills, might not be able to fight against the Heavenly Demon Tribe. Therefore, it's best for you to make plans to escape as soon as possible. Yi Qingtang did not think much of the branch itself. However, it was still the Heavenly Demon Tribe who was the force behind the branch. Logically speaking, the Heavenly Demon Tribe was very far away from here. It was impossible for them to rush here to destroy an insignificant small faction, just for a small branch. Nevertheless, they had to be prepared. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. For the worst. Actually, the Feng family patriarch knew this very well, even if Yi Qingtang didn't mention it. Before Yi Qingtang could say anything, violent explosions came from the sky. Yi Qingtang was shocked and her breathing quickened. The faces of the Feng family members turned pale. So fast. Yi Qingtang frowned deeply. One of her thoughts was that the heavenly demon tribe branch people must have come. Look, the young Feng Juyo pointed upwards. That is. The Feng family patriarch looked up at the two figures in the air, his pupils constricting. Unparalleled. Heavenly Emperor. There's one more. Isn't that Han Songming, who is soon to become the third emperor? The young Feng Juyo shouted. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.